workshop stage. Sorry, my tongue is not helping right now. I actually changed outfits for this one, and I'm all in orange. Finally, you all can see that I'm a Bitcoiner too, because my previous outfit was not that, not orange. So before I introduce to you guys our next speaker, I want to take the time to thank our sponsors. I'm sorry for reading. Right now, we'll be thanking our sponsors Btrust, Link, Trevor Academy, African Bitcoin Corporation, and FIDA. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here today. And yet, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a fellow female Bitcoiner who's going to be talking to us about her experience building her own Bitcoin startup company. And she's going to guide us through real-life steps to how to do our own. Please join to the stage. Or not. Big round of applause, please.
Okay, hi everyone, how are you doing? We're here all the way from the Free State, so we traveled quite a bit if you know how far that is. Okay, so I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Corlia Nol from the Free State. So I started freelancing in 2024, and I think it's something we can all agree with, that it's not always the best to be employed by a company, and we don't always like to ask for permission, like, can I do this during the work day? It's like you're an adult now, but you still have to ask the more adults permission to do something with your time. So I started freelancing in a way to have sovereignty over my own career, not just my money. So if you lose your job, it's quite out there these days. So it's just decentralizing your income, having more than one client, so that if you lose a client, it's not the end of the world. So let's start. The clicker is not working. And also, this is a workshop, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. But let's start. Okay, so what does the statistics say? There are 1.57 billion freelancers worldwide, which makes up 36.6% of the global workforce. So almost half of the global workforce is freelance today. At least 25% of employees globally are looking to take up freelance work in 2025 to 2026. This includes part-time and full-time. The freelance workforce grew by 90% between 2020 to 2024 in the US. Remote jobs grew by 312% globally since 2020. The youth unemployment in South Africa sits at 58.5% in the quarter of 2025. Yes, that's quite awful. The average entry rate for South African freelancers is between 250 to 350 rand per hour for skills like copywriting or virtual assistance. The official unemployment rate in South Africa was between 31.9% to 32.2% in Q3 of 2025. There's only between 16.8 to 17.1 million people employed in a country of over 60 million people. Of university graduates, 23.9% are unemployed. This is almost 1 in every 4 graduates. 74% of executives don't care about degrees in hiring freelancers. So how to get started? This is the building blocks of Bitcoin freelancing. So this isn't like a cookie cutter, you have to do this to succeed. This is just looking back on my journey, how I would have made it a bit easier for myself, because the the beginning, you don't really know what you're doing, like where you should go, so this is just simple tips, but like I said, it's not cookie cutter. Okay, so the first book, I would suggest engaging with your community. So I started engaging with the Bitcoiners. You know, the Bitcoiners are mostly on X. There are a few on LinkedIn. I'm connected on LinkedIn. But this is just, you know, building a type of portfolio of yourself. So maybe you can see some companies there doing great work. You like to maybe collaborate with those on a project, or you're interested in what they're doing. So you can engage with them, and once you can maybe send them a message so that they know about you. If you're sending them maybe your CV, they know, well, I've seen this person, and they're more likely to be interested in your CV. I have a few notes here, so I'm not reading it, it's just I don't want to forget anything. So also what I did, it's great to make a list of people you're interested in working with, so that you know like where you need to engage, and also maybe they have someone in their comments that are looking to hire a freelancer, so that they can also see you. That is quite helpful. I had less than 1,000 followers on X or on Twitter when I landed my first client there. So it's not really like you're an influencer or anything. It's just, you know, having a trustworthy profile. People get to know you. People see like you're not like in crypto. You're not Ethereum. You're like Bitcoin. So that also helps. The second block is figuring out your skills or interests. This one, I should say, it's quite tricky at the beginning. If you don't already have something you're interested in, like I was working in admin, so it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I didn't have a specific thing starting out, like what I wanted to do. So, and it's also important to know you won't ever have it completely figured out. Even today, I'm not sure like where I should pivot to next. It's something that grows with you. But this is just a starting point. You're not going to marry this niche, I can say. What is helpful if you don't know where to start is doing research on Bitcoin job boards. You can see what kind of jobs are trending, which kind of jobs you would be interested in. So the Bitcoin job boards you can look at is bitvocation.com. I can give you a moment to write that down. So bitvocation.com, and the other one is bitcoinjobs.com. So it's quite easy. I think they would probably be in the top 10 suggestions if you also Google Bitcoin job boards. So if you don't know where to start, just scroll through there. Like, I know a lot of people think it's mostly developer jobs, but you would be surprised. I think it's like 75%. We're going to go over the December stats at the end. They're mostly hiring outside of developers, but yes. The third block is growing that skill or interest. So a very valuable resource is the Sailor Academy. I don't know if you know about that. I also found out about that when I just got started. So it's a free online resource from Michael Saylor himself. So you can get certified doing courses. It's at Learn. Oh, sorry, let me just quickly check. I don't want to give you the wrong link. It's learn.saylor.org. You can also use YouTube. I know I used a lot of YouTube when I got started. And what's also important in this stage is doing mock projects. So you're not just like watching YouTube videos and watching. You should actually practically apply that. So in that way you're also getting a bit of confidence, and that helps you to also add that to your portfolio. So you can show someone like, here is what I did. It counts as a part of your portfolio, even though it's just a mock project. Okay, the fourth block is get out of tutorial hell. So this is like the second hurdle you probably might face. I know I did face it at some point. It's when you're learning, you're watching YouTube videos, you're on Sailor Academy, but you always feel like, I don't know enough. So I just need to watch one more video, and this is really where a lot of people get stuck. So, like I said, mock projects are great for this, like getting the practical experience of it, and you don't have to know everything. This is also something I remind myself of daily. Is you don't have to know everything. You just have to know. You just have to be one step ahead of your client, so you'll really be valuable to them. Okay. The fifth block is compiling your proof of work. So this can be a PDF document. This can be on social media, a post thread, an Upwork profile. I have all three of those things. On Upwork, that's a bit fiat, but there are Bitcoin companies that actually do have postings on Upwork. And also, what is important here is creating it into a bit of a story. So you're not just adding screenshots of your work. You are focused on the outcome. Like, phrase the client, if it's a more project, you say the client needed this, or the client had this project, or this problem. Here is how I solved it. Here are the outcomes. For a project, you probably won't have outcomes. But it's best if you can show your client, this is how I'm going to take you from point A to point B. Don't spend hours trying to perfect it. Just having something done is a lot more valuable than having it perfect and it never getting done. The sixth block is broadcasting your proof of work. So if you are on Bitcoin, there's a Bitcoin signal group. If someone there might be interested in your service, you can send your PDF there, or if you have your proof of work on social media, I actually asked a few clients if they can reshare my thread, and that I also got a few reviews that way by them resharing my thread. You can DM people that you would like to work with. I know this feels very weird, cold pitching to people, but it's really valuable, especially if you know they're following you back, and if they follow you back, they probably trust you enough so that you can send them a DM. So a big part of the game is learning how to face rejections and being okay with it. Like when I was on Upwork, I sent around 20 proposals before I landed my first client, and this remained consistent. It dropped down to maybe 18 proposals before I got my second client. It's around there. So you're probably going to have to do a lot of cold pitching before you land your client, but it's fine. It's all part of the game. It's a numbers game at the end. The seventh block is delivering the work. So under promise, over deliver. That's how you get clients that will continue to want to work with you. That's how you get referrals from clients. Referrals are really helpful so that you don't have to do all the pitching. And you want great reviews. Like, reviews are also very important to show you're trustworthy. Like, people don't always trust you. They trust what other people say about you. Never be afraid to ask for that feedback. If you get good feedback, you can share that proof of work. If you get bad feedback, you will at least know what to improve on. The eighth block is getting paid. So you can go the Bitcoin way or you can go the fiat way. I do a bit of both. So for international fiat payments, I use Wise. It was previously TransferWise. So that's very quick and easy to get payment. You have to pay 300 Rand to get it set up. After that, the 300 Rand is in your account. A lot of, I think the UK clients, if they pay you, you get it instantaneously. It's about 130 Rand to withdraw into your South African bank account, and also the money shows within 45 minutes. Then for Bitcoin payments, I use a Lightning wallet, I use Blink, and I create the invoices. You can create the invoices in Canva. They have a lot of great templates. You can do that for free, and then they can pay you via Blink. I just usually add my Blink address and add a QR code. Then for tax tracking, you can use Coinly or TaxTim. I have used both of them. They are both paid. Coinly is just to keep track of your transactions, and TaxTim it helps you taxes. So I know that's not a great thing to deal with, but unfortunately that is the reality. We have to deal with that at some point. So I also used Zoho Books to keep track of everything, my expenses and my income. I did switch over to QuickBooks, but Zoho Books has a free option, but if you want to have international currency, then you have to pay that. The ninth block is ongoing maintenance. So it's important to continue growing your skill set. So it can be quite competitive out there, so you need to be updated on what's going on. Also, like I said, you don't have to marry the service you're providing. If you want to provide something else, you can do that, and I feel like it's easier to offer that service to existing clients you have a relationship with rather than searching for new clients, and continue adding to your portfolio. It's great if you can continue expanding on your portfolio, and also what helps is increasing your rate by 10 to 15% after every new client, because I know me myself face this where I have a rate and I'm stuck at that rate. So don't feel bad to increase your rate by 15% as you get clients. Continue being active with your target audiences. That's a great way to continue getting inbound referrals. I did get inbound referrals by continuously being active in the community. I know I'm not that active today, but that really helps. And don't get too fixated on your niche. Like I said, you can change your niche at any time, but just getting started, you have to start somewhere. Also, which something that is helpful is registering on btcmap.org. So that's where Bitcoiners can go to find businesses. So if you want Bitcoiners to find you, go register on btcmap.org. The 10th block, common mistakes to look out for. So these are mistakes I've made, so I can share with you. Waiting until you're ready. You're probably never going to feel ready. It's quite an interesting journey. It's important to put yourself out there and having trust in yourself that you can figure it out as you go along. Obviously, don't make promises you can't keep, but don't wait until you feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. And chasing the perfect niche, like I said, just pick somewhere and get started with it. You can change it later, and it would be easier to change it as you already have reviews and you're already trusted. Overpricing before you have proof. It's going to be difficult to land a client if you're asking high rates, but then at the same time, don't underprice yourself. That's also a problem I have, is underpricing myself. But as you grow your skill set and your confidence, and yes, raise your rates. Another mistake is not asking for referrals. Like I said, referrals are very important for you for continuous growth. And yes, let's have a look at the Bitcoin job market. This is the December 2025 report. You can see there were 113 jobs posted in December 2025 on bitvocation.com. 47% of jobs posted were for remote positions. 72% of jobs posted in December was non-developer roles. The non-developer roles posted included product manager, co-founder, data analyst, director, executive assistant, inventory specialist, paralegal, sales manager, social media manager, AFC analyst. So I got started with social media management, and then I expanded a bit into search engine optimization. So now I'm more like a full suite marketing person. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Yes.
So most of the jobs actually are non-developer related, right?
Yes.
And that's like 113 job. That's only for December, or that's?
Yes, that was only for December.
So technically, there are so many jobs. That's worldwide.
Worldwide. Yes. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand it. And then,
But 47% of those are remote, so essentially you could be anywhere, right?
Yes.
yeah.
And then you said the other site was
Bitcoinerjobs.com. Yes, that's actually where I landed my first 2 clients.
Are you a developer yourself or you do?
No, I do marketing.
Marketing.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, no, it's like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So how long have you been doing this?
For almost 2 years. Any more questions? Yes.
So you say you use Wise. You can onboard as a South African onto Wise and accept incoming international payments?
Yes, but it's unfortunately.
Sweet.
And also the fees on Wise are very low for you to withdraw. It's about 130 rand per payment. But I think I pay maybe $1 per incoming payment. So that's why you use Wise for the low fees.
Does the sender need
Does who need Wise?
the sender?
The sender.
No.
No. So basically, I have clients in Europe. So Wise allows you to create a Europe bank account. So you can send them. It's just a wire transfer, not a wire transfer. It's a local transfer for them. So their fees are also very low. Okay. Any other questions? No questions. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sorry. Do you know if the trend of the jobs like between 2023 to 4 to 5 been increasing or decreasing? Do we know anything about that?
I don't know specifically, but I guess it has been increasing. I'm sorry, I don't have specific details for you, but you can look at the bitvocation.com website. They have reports every month on what's going on, but I think December had a bit of a dip in job postings, but I think that would be the best to look there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's so amazing she mentioned Btrust because I actually joined them to, I think it was November last year. We're all looking for jobs in this economy. So thank you so much once again. How are we doing? We're doing good? So for this particular stage, the Btrust stage, next speaker is supposed to come in at, I think, 2. Is it 2? Let me just be sure.
Yes, it's called.
Yes, Roak Janice. Why is it? It's not here yet, right? So now we have about 10-15 minutes to get to know ourselves. Or do we have something we want to go and do? Yes, everybody's here. Beautiful. So initially we said we wanted to have a raffle draw. Just to say we have a raffle draw going up. Please remember to scan. I don't know, is it visible? You can scan using your wallet of Satoshi, any Bitcoin wallet you have. To enter the raffle draw, it's just 2K for sats. We have this amazing shirt for the raffle draw. So I think should I open it? Yeah, we should see the fine designs. Custom made. This shirt costs, I think, $100, right? Right? How much do you think is worth? No, it's amazing. It definitely costs more than 2K sats. But definitely scan the raffle draw, get the ticket. We're going to do the raffle draw here for everybody to see who wins. We don't have time to waste. No time to waste. So while we're doing that, we're doing this to wait for our next speaker. I think it's Roak Janice. Please, if anybody knows where Roak is, please send him a message. Tell him we are waiting for him here. Amazing people. Amazing people. Thank you all so much. How has it been so far? Can I ask? I can ask, right? Yeah, I can ask. So, how has the conference been so far for you?
Quite interesting.
Any speaker that you like or you want to?
The guy that was on previously before lunch was on fire. That guy spoke the truth. Yeah.
If you know you missed Jimmy's session, trust me, you don't want to miss another one. Hi, you. You've been since morning, right? So what speaker has been good for you? No specific one, yes? Okay, beautiful, beautiful. We will be waiting for a few more minutes and then we will get started. Thank you so, so much. Please, if you scan, don't go. We are doing the raffle draw here. Oh.
bit, or you might see but then you come back to
Is it still plugged in?
We can organize a out of your ears, you're so it's frozen the no, but you can just forward to skip your brain with your laptop and start streaming, start doing that you are doing this perfectly fine.
Either way, if you want to, I can do the next one. I don't know if you're here for a while.
Do I need to fix it?
It's very hard. Thank you. Don't worry, we're just MCs, bro. Lisa knows there's a whole place. Exactly.
But I do have to find someone to come do it for me.
Awesome.
They were sitting under the
It is a bit cool. Yeah. Okay, so let me just make sure. So we jump right forward. So our road comes back. Yes. Okay. So you're following me? No, you're following me. We are. After lunch.
Somebody come down and call the previous.
That's what the AV guys do now.
Yeah. But the AV guys also have an event.
I just think he tried to invest too much into yeah. We when we learn okay, so we're saying 10? Yeah. 5. I'm just moving. Next page. I'm just trying. Very nice day. Excellent. My is off Tuesday, basically. Tomorrow. Yes, after and there's a May stage 4. You work one of these? May. Yeah. Yeah. Afternoon main stage. Yeah. Main stage is you. Oh, maybe I eat breakfast. Okay. Should have waited for the AV guys to come back. I went to the hotel. Okay, how did you do the live? When did it work? Not one of them are recorded in Btrust. So it's only, I mean, if it's been said that it should be recorded. No, it's fine. I'm guessing this is where they record. Does it look like it's being recorded? I don't want to touch them. It was both.
The other one, the one job telling you really gave him that laptop, doesn't want to do the job.
Yeah.
But he said,
That's a pretty cool setup.
yeah, but the computers. But he still is like,
Ah, you see, I told you, he's right there.
exactly.
It looks like it's on.
It's always a balance between trying to get people to a great workshop from other stages, and making sure we don't let the speaker wait for an awesome presentation. Well, I think so. I just read the information about this. So yeah, everyone needs to run a spreadsheet when they're working with numbers. It's the one thing I'm not good at. Having studied law, I'm better with words. I'm always interested in people who know how to run spreadsheets. Rourke Janice from Utah. Rourke found Bitcoin at block 175895 and never looked back. He is involved in supporting and leading many projects, including BitBooks. Using his capital, financial, and software experience, he and his partners have a goal in 2026 to donate BitBooks to 1,000 local project organizers and companies accepting Bitcoin in circular economies, which I think is a great, great initiative. With no further ado, please come up and school us and enlighten us on a great topic.
Thank you so much. I'm glad we had a few people here, because probably accounting is one of the most boring topics in the planet. But the reality is, in fact, let me tell you a story as I get started. And this is a workshop, so I'm going to take 10 or 15 minutes, share a few slides, and talk about some things just to introduce, and then I really want to make this a workshop and talk about maybe some of your businesses or projects or things where you can see the problem that I'm going to talk about. But just a little background. I graduated with an accounting degree in 1985, and by that time knew I didn't want to be an accountant. But I was married and had one child, and my wife said, we're done with school. We're going to go make money instead. So go figure it out. And so I moved into sort of marketing, pricing, finance-related positions, but then ended up in supply chain. And I'm old enough that supply chain wasn't even a degree at that time. It was part of operations. So, but I found my home there for many years. I was on the operations side and eventually on the software side, and then ran warehouse management system companies. So I gained a lot of experience in software. Always adjacent to accounting. It was useful information, but I didn't want to be an accountant. The problem is that when I got into Bitcoin, I think you may have read the block number wrong. It wasn't 17 something. That makes me sound like a real OG. 7-1, yeah, 7-1, yeah. I don't remember the exact number. I have to look it up, but when I got into Bitcoin, I just went quickly down the rabbit hole. I won't tell my whole story, but one of the first things I realized owning businesses and doing personal financial management in software, I was like, well, how do you keep track of Bitcoin as money? Because I immediately realized it was a store of value and you could hold it as an asset, but I was like, you can spend and receive this like a wallet's like a bank account. It's what I was realizing or visualizing in my mind. So I immediately went to, well, how would I incorporate this into my QuickBooks? Or into my, I use a program in the US called You Need a Budget, YNAB. I think it's global now. And that was for personal financial management. And I just thought, well, how do I do this? So I started researching. None of them supported Bitcoin as a currency. You could fake it and put in sats with no decimals with some currencies that don't use decimals. But then it's going to have a different symbol. It wasn't workable. And then the other problem you have is that we still live in this fiat world where sometimes you need to reprice your Bitcoin into dollars for one purpose or another, right? Or you have a mixed environment. So that was about 4 years ago. And I actually sat down within a day or two of learning about Bitcoin. I wrote a one-page document that was kind of like, it's what BitBooks is now, although BitBooks is a lot more than that, but it was like, somebody has to create this. It has to be there somewhere. So I just kept looking, and about a year and a half ago, I just came to the conclusion nobody else is doing it. There's some people that say they are, but they're really focused on the tax. They're focused on cost basis and capital gains calculation to pay taxes. They're not actually producing financial statements. And then the systems don't look like accounting systems do. They don't have a chart of accounts. They don't manage assets and liabilities and owner's equity and all the pieces that you normally have in an accounting system. And so I just decided we had to build it. I think sometimes Bitcoin finds us, or a project in Bitcoin finds us, and that's what this was for me. So as much as I didn't want to be in accounting, and I don't really like to do accounting, this has been fun. Because for one, it was building software, which I love to do. Two, I could see a real need in the community, and so it feels good to do something that is going to contribute. But three, it's a complex problem actually to solve, at least to scratch down the layers to get to the point where you kind of understand how does this work as Bitcoin, and how does it work with fiat, and how do you manage that in software? So it wasn't as simple as I thought it might be, which maybe is why nobody was doing it. But here we are. So where do I point? Okay. Maybe you can just advance for me. There's only a few slides, so. Okay. So how many in here have a spreadsheet of some sort tracking your Bitcoin? I mean, gave up. It's really hard to do on a spreadsheet. But if you have a business and you use, say, Blink Wallet, chances are you're downloading the CSV file and then trying to figure out how to categorize all those expenses. You're looking at your wallet, and it's like, I don't remember what this was for. It doesn't tell you who it was paid to. It doesn't tell you sometimes in the memo. Sometimes you can write something. Sometimes you can't, but depending on how the payment's processed, right? And so it's a nightmare to go back and figure that out. And there's no software to tie it all together anyway. And so everybody literally is on spreadsheets. And as it says here, most projects start with a simple Google sheet. What do you call them? Sheeties? What do you call Google Sheets? Spread? Oh, spreadies.
No, but Sheets
Is it the same thing?
Excel yeah.
What do you call it here in Cape Town, though?
Depends if you use
Okay.
either like Excel or
But you called it a spready, I think. Spready. I haven't heard of spready before. We just call it spreadsheets. That's a new one? Okay. I thought maybe it was a local thing. So at first it feels manageable, like it's not so hard, you get started, but pretty soon it becomes really difficult to track. The manual entry becomes just too much. Yes, you can upload the spreadsheets or the CSV files, but it just gets unwieldy. There's no tracking. If you change something, it's like, it just is what it is, right? And then as I mentioned before, you have to remember who went to or where it came from, where it went, what it was for. Never mind that you can't even assign accounts to it, like income accounts or expense accounts, or track it as an asset versus a liability. It's not, you can't track it like real money. Like you would never do your business accounting in a fiat world inside of a spreadsheet. You would get Xero, QuickBooks, something, right? Okay, so that's the problem. If you can advance, or can I try again? Okay. So what most people do is they try to use the wallet note. Okay, I've actually experimented with this a lot, where I actually put in information. I say from, to, and then what it's about, right? That still doesn't keep track of it from an accounting standpoint in terms of like what account in the chart of accounts, like what type of expense is it or something like that. But at least I had some information. But then I ran into this problem where if somebody gives me a Lightning invoice, they've already put whatever memo in that they want. I just pay it. And there's no way, like Blink doesn't offer me a way, Strike does this, but Blink doesn't offer you a way to go in and add your own note to it, which I could do. Like if you go to the takeout and pay there, and it uses Money Badger, it puts in their Money Badger, and actually it's pretty good information. It's Money Badger, it says it was timeout, I guess it's called, right? Or is it timeout? And then it shows the rand amount. But it still doesn't tell you exactly which store it was, right, that you bought from. So it just, there's always missing information. And what's really interesting is Kamal, if some of you might know Kamal, he's with Blink. He and I had a conversation about 6 months ago about this topic. And I told him I thought the problem was that those developing Lightning didn't appreciate the accounting requirements. And he said, no, you're wrong. He said, it's about privacy. He said it's very intentionally designed to be private. And he said, don't underestimate the Lightning developers. They know what they're doing, and they've thought way ahead about where this is all going. He's the one who encouraged me to start attending these types of conferences. So I went to El Salvador, had a marvelous experience, went to Medellin a couple of weeks ago, spoke there. Now I'm here. I've kind of found my Bitcoin home in terms of conferences. And I love this community and being part of it, but I give him credit for kind of getting my head turned around and go, no, there's this privacy layer that exists, and it's intentional, which then, while I was building BitBooks, thinking we were just going to connect to that, I realized there's more functionality we need, and I'll talk about that as we go along. But what's really needed to do accounting is the what, why, who, precise timestamps. And you need the precise timestamps if you have to do fiat valuation to produce a fiat income or statement or a balance sheet. Chart of accounts, for those who are bean counters here, you know what a chart of accounts is. That's all your different income, expense types and statements and things you need. And then you need some cost basis tracking. You need it for capital gains, but we're not focused on the tax thing, but you do need to know the cost. And basically, the gap that exists today is you can't answer these questions. What did I actually earn? To whom did I pay? Can I afford to restock right now? Especially if you're selling in Bitcoin, buying in fiat, right? Which some businesses have that issue. And how much do I owe in taxes? So we are trying to solve that problem. Can you advance? So here's how we think about where this fits, is you have layer one, which is the blockchain, of course. It's secure, unchangeable. There's many attributes, but those to me are the two most important, particularly as they relate to accounting. Layer two payments are fast and they're private. And that privacy is really important. If you listen to, I was in Medellin a couple weeks ago, and Obi gave a tremendous presentation about privacy. If you haven't seen it, go online and find it. It's about 5 minutes long. It has like 3 words per slide, but it was so impactful, as it always is when he talks about stuff. That's Obi from FEDI, and it was the BTC Medellin conference. I'm sure it's still up on YouTube. So what we think, how we look at BitBooks, or Bitcoin accounting in general, is that there's application layers that are being built that sit on top of layer 1 and layer 2 and integrate with them, but they're private to you. So they're useful, they're insightful, they provide you information you need, but they're not public. It's not a public ledger in any way. There's no data being transmitted out. It may be in a cloud and a hosted system if you don't want to host it yourself, but that's still your own set of data that you own, or you could even host it yourself. But the idea is that this application layer communicates with these. So if we think specifically about payments, if you were to make a Blink payment, or go to make a payment of any kind, if you actually started at the application layer, you would be able to collect that little bit of data you need and say, oh, I'm paying this restaurant or this store, here's what I'm getting. Maybe you don't worry about the account that it's going into yet. The wallet, yes, but not like the accounting account, because that can be sorted out if you know who you paid and what it was for. And then the accounting system can trigger into the payment layer the payment itself, which is now private. But that payment is linked internally in the application layer to that data you've collected to answer the question. So when I started this whole process, I thought we were just going to connect to the API. So Blink has an API. As a user, you probably just download the CSV. But if you're building a system, you can connect to their API, pull all this data. But we immediately realized we couldn't figure out, okay, we got this transaction. It's the same problem as the CSV and the spreadsheet, right? So that's when it dawned on us, oh, we have to turn this around. This needs to be where the activity happens. The payment is almost abstracted away from that information. It's just the way you pay, and it's very private. You don't even need a memo, because if you know the hash or something else, or the Lightning invoice, that's the tie back to the application layer. So what we decided to do, we're in Bitcoin. We believe in free and open source. So we've built, BitBooks is actually built on this thing called a Bitcoin accounting engine, which will be open sourced in the next few months. We also are building a tool that's called the Bitcoin Integration API. We will brand it for ourselves as the Bitcoin Connector. It's sort of like Plaid. I'm sure many countries have these APIs where you can connect to one API and it interconnects to all the banks. That's kind of the same thing, but in the Bitcoin world. So as I put up here, this will be a free and open source software. We created a .org called the Bitcoin Accounting Collaborative that's intended to kind of bring accounting people together in the Bitcoin space to define best practices, maybe lobby GAAP and some of these other things. But most importantly, it will have this open source software. So we're just going to donate it to that organization. Then we're going to turn around as BitBooks and commercialize it in terms of packaging it, hosting it, providing services support. We have a team of accountants overseas in Pakistan that are really knowledgeable on Bitcoin accounting that can actually do the bookkeeping services, not the tax, but the actual accounting or bookkeeping or closing the books each month and auditing. So that's how we'll monetize it, but we want to give the software away because we're hoping that we'll have some competitors actually. Like, I don't think BitBooks could support every single company in the world that's going to be using Bitcoin. So we want to give this, and we'll actually help our competitors, okay, to start. We just feel that that's what this space is about, and there will be enough money to be made that we'll pay our bills and we'll take care of things. So thank you. Any questions on that? This is a workshop, so I'm going to talk about a few things, so interrupt me if you want. This is not a talk like my later one is. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah. Yeah, you could download it if you have the technical skills. I mean, obviously, it's like anything on GitHub. You have to know how to download it, set it up, host it. But the software is there. and there's two reasons open source. One is so that anybody can use it. The other so it's auditable. Because we're not holding funds, we're only tracking, but we may have XPub information, we may have API access to your Blink wallet or to your LN whatever, LN bits or whatever. And so it's important that the software be open source so that as a community, those that are technical enough can verify to those of us who are not to say this thing's clean. It's not taking your information, it's not doing anything it shouldn't be.
But independent bookkeepers will be able to use this for the existing clients.
Yes.
And not go through your Pakistani team.
Yes. So that's the accounting services we provide are optional services. So yes, so if you're a bookkeeper, you have a bookkeeper, you could literally say, just let's sign up for BitBooks, and then you can do all your fiat accounting in it. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. But if you have any Bitcoin wallets in your business, then you will be able to track them like a bank account in the same way you would a traditional bank account.
So would it be similar what you're offering to like zero accounting?
Yes, exactly. And they don't offer a Bitcoin option. If they do, and a few of them do, what it is a plugin that treats Bitcoin as an asset, not as a wallet. It's almost like it's stock. And they're saying, what's the value of this asset that I'm holding? And then that you write it up or down, when you close the books based on did the value go up or down.
Zero, I think where they came apart from that it's quite accessible, is that you can use it in your business if you want to, but you can also link it to your accountant who then
Yes.
So your bookkeeping becomes quite easy, and then you've got things like Dext, where you can take a photo of a whatever printout, and that also goes into Zero.
Yes.
And it makes your bookkeeping like
so much easier.
Yes. The basis of before you're going to do financials, and before you do that is the bookkeeping. Because when I had a business say 10 years ago, like for provisional tax, which is every 6 months, you then have to go back because I kept physical invoices and things as the business owner now. Give the bookkeeping to my actual accountant who's going to run the financials. So there's definitely a difference between bookkeeping, keeping track of that thing, then doing your actual accounting
And the financial statements, right?
Tax, and then managing how you want to pay less tax from an expense perspective.
Yes.
And that all ties together.
Yes, and that's exactly what BitBooks will do. So and that's why we named it BitBooks, because QuickBooks, a lot of people know, and so there's an immediate understanding of what we're doing, but with the Bitcoin aspect to it. Yeah. So one of the really important things, so BitBooks is the Bitcoin accounting engine. That's its generic name. BitBooks is how we're branding our version of it. Okay, others will brand it in other ways, but we will all collaborate. Like our commitment is, if we add a new feature, we're going to put it back into the free and open source version so anybody else can use it. We hope that others will do the same. We'll license it in a way that copyleft, as they call it, which requires that anybody who uses it also contribute back, so that we as a community, we're all benefiting from that. So basically what it does, it's not just a wallet viewer. There are applications out there. You can plug all your wallets in. It'll tell you your balances. That's still not accounting yet. That's just looking up your bank balance, basically. It doesn't tell you the transactions, what they were for. It doesn't allow you to produce an income statement or a balance sheet. So what we do is we sit on top of the payment solutions. We watch the transactions happen. We pull them in, or they can be initiated in our system. Or you could simply take a picture of a receipt for your lunch that you paid in Bitcoin, just put it in there, and then the accountant, when the transaction comes in, will be able to match the receipt and go, oh, I know where Almo was. He was having this, and it was lunch, and he can tie that then to this sort of private blind payment that happened in Lightning, okay? So one of the things that you have to do when you have a dual currency system is you have to capture the fiat value of whatever your fiat currency is of that transaction in Bitcoin. So if you're a miner, for example, and you're receiving mining income, and that's your business, every time you get paid, you have to know what the fiat value of that payment was at that point in time. So we automatically capture that so that we can produce a fiat financial statement or a Bitcoin financial statement. And you can decide to say, which is my base currency, which is my alternate currency. So we will pull it from a series of exchanges. So it'll be a transparent calculation. I mean, there's always different spot prices, right, constantly. So what we'll do is get 2 or 3, for each currency that we have to do this in, we'll get 2 or 3 at least sources that are considered reliable, and then we'll bring those together, average them, and that will be done every minute. So the auditors are telling me, as long as we have the transaction within the last 60 seconds, that should pass audit. It's close enough. So even with volatility, you're kept. Yeah, exactly. But they're saying that's enough real time that there's no manipulation and it's consistently applied. So we'll be doing that. But that's the plan. And as we go into a market, we'll work with the first customers in that market to define what are the exchanges that we feel together are reliable. And then we'll just, like I said, average those, pull them in and use APIs to pull the data. And then most importantly, at the end, is this dual ledger creation. And I think I have another slide, either in this deck or it may be in the one in my talk later on. But basically, and I kind of mentioned this, we're going to be producing 2 sets of financial statements at the same time. The base one will be whatever you want it in. It can be Bitcoin. Or if you'd rather do fiat, either way, it doesn't matter your base, but you can literally, at the click of a switch, reproduce your financial statement in the other currency, okay? And I'll tell you, when we built the first version of this, which I only used in my mining companies and whatnot, just for myself, and it didn't even have the balance sheet. But the first time I was able to see the mining business, P&L, in Bitcoin, and then compare it month to month, it was amazing. I mean, you know that everything costs less over time, but when I did it, we were actually in a run-up, and my hosting costs for the mining are dollar contracts. So each month I was having to convert less Bitcoin to pay the dollar invoice, okay? And I couldn't see that when I was looking at it in fiat, okay? You've had that experience? Yeah, so that's what we need to talk about, because it was mind-blowing for me. It honestly was. I was like, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, is this right? I have more Bitcoin profit this month than I did last month. Why? It's mining. I mean, it's pretty regular. And I started digging in the numbers, and it's because when I converted to USDT to pay that invoice that I have to pay in dollars, because that's the way it's denominated, it took less Bitcoin to do that than it did last month. And then I started to, it's just like you can see what theoretically you know, but you see it.
So when you draw your profit and loss, it would be the Bitcoin price for September 2025. No matter if you're sitting in JAG, it would still use September's Bitcoin.
No, it uses it at the time of the transaction. So let's say you're collecting revenue every day, constantly through the day, like you're a merchant. Every sale transaction that you receive Bitcoin, it's valued in fiat at that moment in time. And we're tracking that. So in the database of the ledger, we're tracking both the fiat amount and the Bitcoin amount. Every transaction. Any wallet, basically any bank transaction, and that includes credit cards, because credit cards are like a bank transaction. They just create a liability you have to pay later, but that's still a transaction. So even if you use the credit card to make the purchase and then pay it in Bitcoin later, or whatever, however you set that up, we're creating a Bitcoin value for that fiat purchase at the moment in time when you did it. Okay? Now the balance sheet is done at the moment in time of the as of date, because that liability and those assets and owner's equity are valued based on Bitcoin value to the fiat at that moment. The beauty of what we found here, just one second, Robert, and I'll come to you. The beauty of what we found with this is that if you prefer to still see fiat, because that's where your mind is, but you have a few Bitcoin wallets, you can start with the fiat and then flip it to the Bitcoin. Or you can do vice versa. Either way, it doesn't matter your entry point, you can do both. Go ahead. Correct.
Have you worked in any other countries where that is still the rule? And how do companies react to that? Because
yeah.
they get audited on their books and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like they're doing badly, but they're really not doing badly.
Yeah, so I haven't run into it in the other countries yet, but we don't focus on the tax side, which really you're gonna take the balance sheet, and then you're gonna have to make a tax version of it. And so right now, you know, because I'm in the US, we're thinking of that, so it's not a problem. But my accountant, who's in Pakistan, brought it up right away, and he said, you're gonna have to have some entries, some journal entries that are done to account for that. He also pointed out that you have a gain even on the Bitcoin that you have on your income statement. There's a currency gain or loss essentially that happens in fiat. So let's say you're doing it on Bitcoin. So your numbers in Bitcoin are your numbers. We always say one Bitcoin to one Bitcoin today still, right? So those numbers work, but when you translate it into fiat, if you have to produce a financial statement, say for a bank or a loan or something you have to do in the fiat world, you're gonna have this difference because the P&L in dollars, let's say, is gonna come out differently than it is in Bitcoin, and then there's gonna be an entry that's non-Bitcoin affecting, but that is fiat that says this is what, I did have a gain or a loss on it. And you will see that, I mean, it'll vary, the volatility over time, just like the value of Bitcoin goes up over time. You'll see that quarter after quarter, you know, year after year, it's improving. And some of these things still have to be worked out. I mean, this is in layers, we're kind of going, but they're all the things we're thinking about, and what we're looking to do is just partner with our customers, and we have a development team that can keep iterating on this. And what we're also hoping is that other companies in some countries may pick up the open source software and kick off a project of their own, figure out, say, how to do everything in Kenya, contribute it back to the community, and then all of us can benefit from that. So we're just not the only ones. You know, there's too many countries for us to probably build every single one. Okay, next. How are we doing on time? About 20 minutes? Okay, left, okay. So you mentioned this donation of 1,000 instances of BitBooks. This was really inspired by our visit at the El Salvador conference. My brother, who's my partner, co-founder in this, we went together, and we were a day into that conference, and we were sitting at dinner, and we're like, we got to do something to help. This is like, yeah, this circular economy thing's really exciting. What could we do to help? And we said, well, it doesn't really cost us a lot to host software for 1,000 companies. It's a small, really small investment. And frankly, we get a lot back from it too, because we're gonna get a lot of user feedback from people that are in the trenches every day. And what we found, we went to Berlin, we went to Bitcoin Beach, we talked to these, you know, what are you doing? Oh, we're all on spreadsheets. You know, what are the problems? We started to hear the same thing over and over. We're like, oh, well, if we gave you this software, would you use it? Of course we would. They're all like chomping at the bit, ready to go. So we're really excited, and when we came up with 1,000, it felt like a huge number. But we realized just here alone, there's 40-something circular economies. Say maybe 20 are active, but they each have dozens and dozens of merchants in them. We don't have to touch every merchant. We just need to train the circular economy to use it inside their own project, and then they're all doing education anyway. They can incorporate this in and educate and give away the license and help their users. And so we think we can scale really easily. We've run some models that we probably even will do more than 1,000. Like, we're not gonna cut it off there. That's just a goal, like to reach. But the idea is to go out, and there's really three focuses. The nonprofits, so it doesn't even have to be a circular economy. Like Bitvocation is a nonprofit. There's some others out there that are interested. We'll give it to anybody who's just trying to contribute to the space. The project leads for the circular economies, obviously, and then their community members, which are usually the businesses, you know, that are trying to grow. We already have, like, Blink's gonna be a customer, they'll pay. There's other, you know, commercial companies that have money that will pay us. And so we feel like it'll be easy to cover our costs, at the same time make this donation. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so what I wanted to do is, rather than me present a case study, I told you a little bit about my experience with the Bitcoin mining company, but let's talk about one of your companies. I don't know, Robert, you've got some companies. Are you willing to share a little bit? Like, what are your challenges? How does this help?
The main challenge for me is to get my sister, who's co-owner as well, onto the Bitcoin stack. The management team is on the course.
Okay.
They're busy trying to do what they can themselves outside of the normal day-to-day stuff that they're doing.
So here's a way to go about that, I think. Number one, it's open source. And is he a developer, like he's technical? So we can give him a copy of the software. He can do what he needs to make it work in your environment. And if he can get all the accounting data from the last 5 years in fiat, he's got it. He can suck it in. Obviously, he'll have to run some scripts and things to get the old exchange rates and set it up. But when he's done with that, it should be able to provide P&L, balance sheet at any time during those 5 years, quarterly, annually, whatever, probably annually if you're going 5 years, and just show what's happening. And I'm going to talk about this in my next talk, but the fiat P&L lies to you because it looks like you're making more profit. But if you normalize that to the value and take away the inflation, you could manually try to figure that out, but essentially it's not true because you're always chasing this inflation, right? Whereas when Bitcoin terms, if you can show I made more Bitcoin than last time, last quarter, last period, whatever, then that's real true growth, right? Just in numerically. And that's the goal, is how do I bring more profit, Bitcoin profit to my bottom line that goes into my owner's equity on my balance sheet. That's, in essence, you're stacking Bitcoin by doing it through a profitable business. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That will be an issue for more companies to do. Or if they're going to get bad on their financial audits. Yeah. Yes. So I think you're where I was, say, a year and a half ago, where I just stuck it into my business and tried to force fit it. And I think we can do the same thing, and happy to collaborate on it because we'll learn from it. You'll benefit. That's why we're open sourcing the software. So it'd be good to work with him. Anybody else thinking about these pain points, the tracking chaos? Is there somebody who's willing to share if you're using spreadsheets to try to run a business and keep track of your Bitcoin? What is your experience with that?
It was a lie. For me, I tried and I couldn't. I think because I was earning, I said I'll project.
You got a big voice.
Just because I was, generally what I was doing was I was buying Bitcoin and earning Bitcoin at the same time, and also trying to, with family members, get them to get Bitcoin. But I'd be buying Bitcoin for them because they were like, I'll give you the
You were like an exchange almost.
All of it became crazy, like spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That I had to now figure out which one was my earning Bitcoin, which was the Bitcoin I bought for me, versus the Bitcoin I bought for you. And this is over 3, 4, 5, 6 months out. Gave up. So this would be an easier way for that.
And this would track that because, again, you have a chart of accounts and you can say, this is Bitcoin that I purchased for somebody else. It's an asset liability, but you can start to track just like you would with fiat. If you were doing the same thing, you'd owe people money, they owe you, whatever, as it moves around, but you can track it. Yeah, absolutely.
So you would run a wallet as a bank account?
Yes. That's the key differentiator for what we've done than anybody else. Everybody else looks at it as an asset only. We're saying it's not an intangible asset, it's a wallet, it's a bank account. And that was the breakthrough. Once I kind of figured out how to do that, then all the rest started to fall into place.
And you mentioned QuickBooks, so is it compatible with QuickBooks?
So, not yet, but Jeff Booth and I were in a fireside chat, and he brought that up a couple of weeks ago in Columbia, and he said, some people are not going to want to leave their QuickBooks or their Xero or whatever. Why don't you create something that does what you do on the front, but they can just export their data to QuickBooks where it lives in what they're used to? And I was like, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but Jeff's pretty smart, so. We're going to. We haven't done it yet. He just 2 weeks ago suggested it, but it's high on our list of things to do, especially the first customer that we run into that says, oh, I really want to use it, but I'm still going to have to use my QuickBooks. I mean, you guys may be a case for that. Whatever your sister, she's doing with the company, You may still want to run parallel books and have that integrate. So yes. Yeah, I mean, our hope long term is that you won't run it concurrently. We do everything QuickBooks does, but we don't have the brand reputation yet, you know, and all that. But you can also use this in a fiat-only company because it takes all the fiat wallets or bank accounts. You could run it instead of QuickBooks. So we see it as an opportunity also to orange pill businesses to say, well, just buy this and use it. It's better, less expensive, whatever our angle is. And then if you ever do get a Bitcoin wallet, you'll be able to track it like a bank account, and you can't do that in your current system. So a couple of other angles on that, for example, you've probably heard of Square and what they've done in the US. So Square is one of Jack Dorsey's companies. It is a point of sale terminal. There's 4 million merchants. They have to turn it on, but it will allow them to accept Bitcoin payments. So we're going to build a version of BitBooks that's in their app store that the merchants can download, because the first time they accept a Bitcoin payment and put it in a Bitcoin wallet, which Block will set up for them, they're going to have this issue. Well, how do I account for it? Because my accounting, whatever they're using that Square integrates to, won't support it. So we want to put that in the app store, so when they go figure out like Bitcoin wallet or something, we come up and then they can use it. But again, they'll mostly be in fiat world. That's okay with us. You know, we're going to go where the people are, get it in there, and then enable them to receive Bitcoin when they do. Kind of like, yeah, exactly. Yes, Ben and I have talked. We met in El Salvador. Yeah, we've talked quite a bit. Yes. How do we tie that together? Yes. So that's what the integration API does, is it will integrate to, say, the Bitcoin or the Blink wallet. So you'll have to put in your API key and your secret and whatever. It'll pull the data in, and let's say you do nothing in BitBooks until you receive that data from Blink. Then you go in and you'll finish out the transaction. You'll assign the account. You'll put in who the payment was to or who you received it from, maybe a notice to what it was for. That is manual, just like the spreadsheet, but better organized and tied together. But where we see the ultimate value is that instead of making the payment from the Blink wallet, now Blink wants to integrate this in, by the way, and they may actually put a white labeled version of BitBooks inside of Blink, which is great. We're happy to support that. Again, it's open source. They can do whatever they want. But the way you would do it today, if they haven't done that, is you would go into our system to BitBooks, create the transaction there to send, and then you could quickly tag. We'll ask you, who are you paying, right? And you'll have a to from list. So if it's the same place you paid last week, you can just select it off the list. You might even use, you know, geolocation on your phone to know the merchants that are nearby you that likely are where you're at. But then when you create the payment, there's two ways to do it. Either it can go out to the Blink API and make the payment for you. Some people may not want us to have that access. We understand that. So Lucas, the CEO of Blink, actually came up with a great idea, which is, why don't we produce a QR code in our app that you can either scan or paste into Blink. So you switch the app, so you control the initiation of the payment. It's a little bit more involved, but it's more secure because we're not going in and initiating the payment in your wallet. Mm-hmm. So we are integrated to BTC Pay Server. So if you're generating the invoice there, we can pull that data in and tie it to who was the customer, what kind of revenue was it. Maybe you have different kinds of services or ways you track your revenue. So we can do that too. But this idea of, well, we can produce a QR code that allows you to go to the wallet itself and scan was really genius as a bridge, right? Correct. doesn't, yes. Exactly. It throws it off, yes. Yeah. And that's why we think, that if I were to go back to the slide that showed the layers, we think that you actually may do more transaction in the application layer that goes down into the payment infrastructure to execute a private payment and do it fast, but you're actually creating it in your own wallet or your own application. Fedi is another example. We had a lot of conversation with Obi in Colombia about this and learned about the mini apps, if you're familiar with the Fedi app. So we can create a BitBooks mini app. Money Badger has one, for example, and you can issue you can basically scan the QR code right there, and then it pays out of your Fedi wallet. And because it's your account, you're authorized, it's not even like, we're not even hosting, we're not doing anything. You just use that to create the transaction, collect the pieces of data you need, maybe upload the invoice or the receipt or whatever, so it's tied together. And this will get better. I mean, it's early stages, and we're going to hit some wrinkles, but we think the model is getting it to the point where you could actually have unit of account adoption. Like, we're focused on medium of exchange, which is great, right? But how do you get to unit of account adoption? And it really takes an accounting system to do that, which is what I'm going to talk about in the other session in a little bit. Can you advance the slide? Yeah. Let me just, this is kind of long, but just to show, there's a real challenge in pricing. If you're in a circular economy and you want to price, like this blew my mind. If any of you have been to El Salvador and gone to the Bitcoin hardware store that Ronnie has, if you had a chance to go there, but he runs a store that's called the Bitcoin hardware store. Everything in there is Bitcoin related products. You can buy wallets and, just all kinds of things. And I'm in there and everything's priced in dollars. I said, Ronnie, I said, why aren't you, you're the Bitcoin hardware store. You only accept Lightning payments, but everything is based in dollars. I said, why do you do that? And he goes, I don't know, cause. I said, well, how do you buy your stuff? He goes, oh, I pay all my suppliers in Bitcoin. I said, so you know what your margin is. I'm like, you're the perfect case for this. And he goes, yeah, but it's just kind of a hassle, and sometimes, I pay them in Bitcoin, but it's based on a US dollar price and blah, blah, blah. So that got us thinking, like, we need to create some tools inside of BitBooks, and this is future, like this is not part of the first version, but it's where our mind is going, is how do we create tools that can help you know how to price things, when to restock, based on volatility that can occur. Like, maybe don't buy today, wait another couple of weeks, and it's not based on trying to project where the price is going, but rather, how do you take the data that's being collected to optimize that? When do you need to reprice in Bitcoin? If your costs are in dollars, then when do you need to change your prices in Bitcoin so you can actually price in Bitcoin? Very preliminary. I don't know that we have all the answers, but we believe, we're calling this kind of like the Bitcoin operating system in a way, beyond just the accounting, is how do we support those kinds of things. The last thing I just mentioned quickly is, the reason I spent so much time with Jeff Booth in Colombia is, I'm pretty sure that his thesis about everything costing less and going to the marginal cost of production over time, we can produce a new financial statement that shows what he keeps talking about. And if you listen to him ever in a conference or a podcast, he says, we can't understand it because we've never seen it before. And so I went to him, I said, Jeff, I think we can use this. We have all the data. Can you work with us to figure out how to create, we're calling it right now the Booth Index and the Booth Financial Statement. But basically, it'll have a different name, I'm sure. He's too humble to let us call it that. But the idea is, how do we produce another financial statement beyond the P&L and the balance sheet and the cash flow statement that reflects this concept of everything costing less over time and the deflation, right? Which would help your sister probably a bunch too, right? Yeah. Yeah, and these are all things that I had to get into and start building to then see, oh, wait, we have a way to solve some of these problems and things. So that's just a little future. If you can skip to the last slide, I think. We can skip this one, doesn't really matter. So if if you scan the QR code, that's our website. You can join the wait list there. You're not obligating yourself to anything. So even if you just want to stay informed, like we're not going to start calling and selling. We may follow up and just see what you want. But particularly if you qualify for the 1,000 donation, sign up for the wait list, and then we'll reach out and connect with you. And that can be for collaboration, Robert, if you want to use that. I mean, it's just really to stay in touch. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Any last question? Got 1 minute. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much. Very, very interesting. I'll just say that I'm a lawyer, and I realize that accounting and bookkeeping, running businesses and talking to a lot of people is extremely important. So I'd love to start an accounting company and use BitBooks. Yeah, very, very informative. Thank you so much.
That was, wow, okay, I forgot how loud I am. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that. I will be in touch. As I said, I'm very disorganized, and I think all of us should be able to utilize tools that make our lives easier. Because again, who wants to look at a screen the whole day, looking at the sheets? You don't. That's literally why. Thank you again for building this. One more round of applause, please, as we get started. Sorry, I'm just going to let people come in as I get our next talk. But our next speaker is not here yet. So we're going to give her 5 minutes. She might just be on the other side. But how are you guys doing today? How are you enjoying the conference? Are you enjoying the conference? I'm here, so tell me stuff so I can go yell at people. Any complaints? No complaints? You guys are good? I like hearing it when people say, hey, I'm loving the conference, no problems. But if you do have any feedback, we'd always like to make it better and think about things that we can incorporate in 2027. So please do let us know. If you find Lisa or anybody wearing the Bitcoin Conference Runners t-shirts, please speak to them, as they are part of the organizing committee and they should be able to assist you. Please do join. Everybody just come in. I haven't said who's doing anything yet. Sorry, it's not as easy as main stage, as we normally have everything in front of us. So now we have to actually be human beings that remember what's going on. So we're only actually starting at 2:50. We still have 5 minutes if you want to go get yourself some water or anything. And then I will announce the talk afterwards. So yeah, please feel free to move around or sit where you are if you would like to. I like the way you're doing the content, brother. I like the way you're doing the content. Oh, this is something like new for my nieces to play. become part of the game. I see there's characters. Oh, my name on there too. Okay, block hunters. All right. Yeah, yeah, because remember I gotta jump over to go do the panel discussion with Herman then at 3:35. Well, are you still on here? Yeah. This one and that one, and I could have just started playing. What I'm saying is you're just gonna introduce her, then I'll come back in 10 minutes. No, no, what I'm saying is I'll stay here until it's time for me to go. But wait, are you sure you're supposed to be here? I don't think so. Well, yeah. It's me and you till 3. Till 3:35. No. You must be gone already. Like after you introduce the 3 one. No, I thought I'm introducing that one. After that, then you basically go. Because then you're going to blink. And it start at 4. Yeah, so basically when I introduce us, you can... I always like being on time. Like back home, I'm never on time, but when I'm working, I'm always on time. Okay. So while we're getting ready, I am Oken, your host. I'm Oken from Namibia. I am the lead at EasySats, which is now Easy Hub, which is a long story. But today, we got something awesome right now for you guys. We have Emily Hughes, who, I did say that right, correct? Yes, I did. Emily Hughes is here to show us about Block Hunter. And Block Hunter is a board game, a Bitcoin board game that I am excited to figure out so that I can beat my nieces at it. All 3 of them. So I would say please do pay attention. As people normally say, Bitcoin becomes very technical, and as we're trying to tell the younger kids and other generations about it, it's a lot easier when it's interactive. And I do believe things like this type of a game, even though I haven't read up exactly what it is, so I'm excited like you guys are, I do think these are the type of tools that we need to move Bitcoin to the next generation, and to people that don't want to be technical. They don't really care that much about their freedom, but they might care about something that can teach them while they play. And I think these are important, so I will stop speaking now, and I'll put this down. Emily, when you're ready, your microphone's here.
Sure, that would be great. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Emily Hughes, and I'm a co-creator of Block Hunters, the Bitcoin board game. Arnold and I we met in Namibia, actually. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So this game was really, actually Arnold had the concept for this game a few years back, and he didn't really know, it was just at the beginning phases. He wanted a designer, and also somebody who, as somebody who learns more visually and tactilely, this board game provides almost like a neat little analogy for how Bitcoin works. So the rules of the game are basically just the Bitcoin protocol. It's not like other games, it's not like Monopoly or anything like that. Like when people ask us, what is this game most like? It's most like Bitcoin, honestly. So the best way to run this workshop is we're just gonna play the game. I don't have any slides, I'm not gonna talk about the game much. I think we're all just gonna get into it. I'll give you an overview of how the game works, but if you could get 4 persons per board, you can play with 2 or 3 if there's not enough, and if there's too many, you can very easily team up. It's still very fun. But yeah, if everybody could go to a table with a board, I'll sort of guide you through it. But yeah, at 4 per board or more, team up.
You should turn around. Are we standing or
Just like a quick
yeah, just join. Just bring one chair with. Yeah, then we. Wow! I'm excited. I'm actually really. No clue what's happening.
one here.
It's only 50.
We have, do we have 4 players here? Here,
We
yeah.
have 3.
3? One more.
Oh,
We have 4. Okay, but we can team up, guys. Teaming up is good. And 4 here. All right. Whoever doesn't have board and you want to play, please
Team up with somebody.
everyone.
I love it.
The competitive spirit is out already. Okay, so first I'll just give you a quick overview.
I know, like,
the worst thing in the world
is learning.
the rules of a board game. It's the worst.
Everyone, yeah, you get like halfway through the rule book and we'll be like, let's just play around, let's just play around. So that's what I'm gonna attempt to do here. So the goal of the game is to collect as much Bitcoin as possible. Yeah, much like in real life, all right? Yes. So everybody will have a private key. Those are those biggest like cardboard cards there. Exactly. The private key, before you grab one, kind of intuitive, but this should say private. So you can look at it, but don't show it to anybody else. Or you and your partner can look at it, but don't share it with anybody else. So everybody will start with one private key. You can grab that now.
Grab one private key.
And so the goal of the game, and the transaction cards I'll explain in a second, but the goal of the game is to get as many Bitcoin as possible onto transactions that correspond to the identity that's on your private key as possible. To get a coin, to get Bitcoins confirmed into the blockchain, again, this will also become clear after we do the first round, but we're going to each start with 4 Bitcoins, I believe. So that's these extra ones. Does everybody have some extras there? Yes. So everybody start with 4 Bitcoins. And I'm also going to get everybody to start with 4 of these cards here. These are called transaction cards, and they represent transactions. So if you can each start with 3. Those the ones.
We need, no, never mind.
Yeah.
We have more.
Are you sure?
Oh, that is not what we
For
need.
each, right?
We only have, we're missing 2. No, I think it's fine here. I just need to figure out which one was this one.
Okay, Bitcoins have become very scarce.
Yeah, we also only have missing 2.
You're sure?
We're short 2.
Okay, what we're going to do then is we're going to make them an even number, and you guys are going to equally distribute what's left. So if you guys only have, could you get 3 each over here?
3 each.
Yeah.
Everybody will move 1.
Oh, worth more now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're Bitcoin rich.
Yeah.
So we're all 3.
Yeah, this might be a nice time to tell you about the little extra rule we have in Block Hunters, which is the consensus rule. So any of the rules of this game can be changed as long as 51% of the players agree. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, exactly. 51% of the people agree, it can be anything. It doesn't matter.
So you said we have to take transaction cards?
3 each to start.
And it doesn't matter what numbers are in the transaction.
It does not for now, no. Correct. Okay. And so you each have 3 of those?
3 each of the transaction cards?
Yes.
Okay, so 1.
So once you all take 3 of those,
3.
so these ones, you also do want to keep them to yourself, but it's less important. The private key is the one you really want to keep secret. And the very last thing you want to do to set up the board is we're going to fill the mempool with transaction cards. So right now, just for now, they're going to be face up. So you can fill the mempool as so, with transaction cards face up. See what I mean? Great. Yes. So you may or may not see your private key represented in the mempool right now. The very last thing I want to mention is maybe some of you have them right now, maybe not, but some of our cards have lightning bolts on them, silver bolts. These are, you guys don't have one showing, but that's okay. These are cards that when you play this card, it's called a power card. It's basically like a chance card in Monopoly. So it'll have a number on it. That number will correspond to something in the rule book under this like index. We did it this way so the game can be printed in as many languages as possible. It's a bit annoying to refer to it, but there's a reason. And that will be something that's either going to help your chances or hurt your chances. It could be neutral, but it's something that's going to shake up the game. And it's also something we use to add like a little extra Bitcoin education and some Easter eggs and fun stuff, but that'll shake up the game. So when you play one of these power cards, you'll want to draw the corresponding power card and play it then. So, has everybody kind of had a chance to look at the mempool and kind of get an idea about what's there? Yeah. Because once everyone's had a chance to look, we're going to flip all of the cards over, and they're going to be face down for pretty much the remainder of the game. So once you've kind of had an idea, and don't sweat too hard about trying to memorize them all, because they'll be rotating all of the time. And guys, there's one last important thing that I didn't mention yet, and that is how important it is to keep your private key private. So you'll see in a second how we add Bitcoins to the mempool to get them on. You can be very obvious about this, or you can be sneaky. You might have to bluff a little bit. You might have to throw some distraction coins down, because later in the game at blocks 8 and 9, you'll be able to possibly steal a key from another player. So if somebody is very obvious about their identity, and somebody wins that block and gets an opportunity to guess correctly your identity, then they can steal that key and all of the Bitcoin you've been stacking on it all. So be sneaky, be stealthy if you can. There's lots of different tactics people use, but you guys will figure it out as you go. So I think the best thing to do is to just jump in and get started. I'll kind of guide you all through the very first round, but after that it's repetitive. We're going to follow this wheel of instruction the entire time. Block Hunters moves in rounds, not turns, so round 1, everybody can go. Round 2, everyone can go. And it moves pretty quickly once we get through the first couple blocks. So, without further ado, please flip over all of the cards, transaction cards, in the mempool.
Face down.
Face down, like you've done. So now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place our Bitcoin. So if you can choose to do this. You don't have to. You can save it till another round, or you can do it now. You can place as many Bitcoin if you want, as you want, onto transaction cards in the mempool. You want to be placing them on transaction cards that match the identity of your private key, unless you're bluffing. So a lot of people tend to wait till the second one if everyone's had a good look. If not, like whatever your tactic is. So this would be the opportunity to place your coins on transactions. Love it, love it. That's wonderful.
All right, you have place 2.
Should we be placing all of our Bitcoin or not?
Any if you don't want. The only thing I should probably mention, some people miss this. The Bitcoin that you guys have in your hands right now, that won't be counted at the end of the game. It has to get onto the board
To get it started.
So, exactly. So the Bitcoin you have in your hand now, at some point you want to put them on the board. At the end of the game, they won't count.
These other 2 cards we have, how are those?
We will refill the mempool every round. So yeah, that'll become clear very, very shortly.
So we have to collect the cards that are here and match.
Yes, you have to fill the blockchain with them. So actually, let's move on to that step right now, okay, guys? So Satoshi has very gratefully filled the first block for us. That's this white block here. So we're going to add together the 4 numbers on this white block. I believe they add up to 21. 4 plus 4 plus 8 plus 5. Is there a black bag in there filled with? Yes. So now we're going to mine. And what we're doing is everybody is going to reach in the bag and pull out 3 nonces, they're called. 3 little tiles. Keep them to yourself and take note which one is closest to 21. So once everybody has 3 nonces in their hand, you want to reach blindly. Yeah. Like a draw. There's a little bit of luck to this, much like Bitcoin mining in real life.
I'm just wondering if nobody else but me has put money into the mempool, they don't win anything, do they?
They do have 9 chances. They have like some chances. They have like, they can do it in block 2 or block 3, but in theory, yes. Yeah, they didn't. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it.
So now what are these?
So when everybody has 3 nonces in their hand, simultaneously you're all going to reveal the nonce that you have that's closest to 21. In the event of a tie, if you have 20 and 22, the lower one will win. So if you have a 20 and 22, put up the 20.
How many
Just, you pick 3 and you reveal your closest one. So,
we're gonna reveal it, okay?
yeah, so on the count of 3, if you guys all ready?
No, on the count of 3.
So, whoever wins that block.
She's got 21. That's
Hey, love that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, which one wins? You got 21. So you're going to take the winning knots, you're going to put it right there in the center of block 1. You're going to collect your Bitcoin reward. The reward is fat at the beginning of the game, again, much like Bitcoin. So you're going to take these, those are yours now. Well, they're yours to, you know, bet. And you're going to,
So you say who wins?
so who wins? You win. So you're going to take this. You win. Is that yours? Sorry. That's your reward. You're going to put this here. And also, guys, as part of the reward, you get to choose which 4 transactions to fill block 1 with. And put the other nonces back in the bag as well. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're going to put, exactly, you're going to, whatever 4 you want to put in here. Ideally, you're putting in the ones that you stack.
Oh, okay, wait, so these cards then replace your
Exactly, so these will go in here.
So you should have to choose
Before you
four.
yes, and ideally, you're putting in ones here that you know, you're putting coins in here. Because they don't have the mempool, they count them as
Okay, oh, so she now has to choose which one she wants to add. If any of them are mine.
She might choose to avoid yours, or she might choose to win.
Whoever has that private key, then it's...
Exactly. So let's say this is, I don't know, anonymous company, and you have anonymous, say. If this is in there, that coin at the end of the game will be counted. Hopefully it's you, but maybe someone steals it from you later because you're not scared enough.
Okay, I'm
So you want to fill in. So you get to put 4 cards from the mempool in here.
Because you want this block,
Any 4, but
you
are
get to,
these
as a
yours?
minor, you would consider.
So you might choose to put those in because that's going to confirm
You don't
at the
know
end of the game.
which one of these cards
You know what I mean?
might correspond to
So,
this private
like,
key,
let's
my
say,
private key,
do you want to put this one in?
So when you
Yeah.
put them down,
So we're just
at
gonna.
the end of the game, let's say you would take this one with the 8,
And at the
right?
I don't know, but whoever's holding the key, will, these 6 Bitcoin will count for. Oh, sorry, will count for them. Yeah. So that's kind of why we're being sneaky.
You want to
All
figure out which one
right.
is not.
So
And hope.
next step.
Yeah, but I took one of the ones that
But
had the
also the
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin that's
What
here,
happens?
So
if it's
when
not
whoever
here, we'll figure
owns
out.
the private key associated with this transaction,
It should be
that's
fine.
currently in play now because everything you have in your hand.
Oh, you can pick any of them. No, you can put
This
any more
is-
money on.
this is not
This is
confirmed.
only the ones that were here.
Oh, that's one
So,
of the transactions.
quick question.
Yes, exactly. On the blockchain, exactly.
When they're now, we should delete that into the block, right?
I have
Money stays here, everything
Yeah,
stays
unless
as
somebody
it is.
steals it from you later, yeah. So our next step is we're going to replenish and do is grab one more of these. One more transaction card. From the stack. You'll always have 4 from this block. Yes.
And is everyone?
Yeah, no, you should just, just you. So, if, yeah.
So once we move the 4 here, right, they're locked up till the end of the game, basically. And when we'll reveal them later.
What's, sorry?
So like these 4?
Yes, they're
stay
locked,
like that.
exactly,
They only get revealed
exactly.
later, and then we just replace them with the one.
Yeah, so right now I'm going to need you all to grab one more transaction card from the stack, that's these. So you'll all have 4. So can you guys each grab one more of these? One more each, yep. And you can look at those,
We're gonna choose.
and I'll just demonstrate what's going to happen. So now guys, we're going to, and you guys can probably just go ahead after we've gone through one round, but now we're all going to refill the mempool. So it doesn't matter when you go, it's kind of moves in rounds, not in turns, but what you're going to do is you're going to refill the, oh, no, sorry. Keep those free. So everybody from your hand, you have some to choose from, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to lay one down of the 4 that I have. I'm probably going to lay one down that corresponds to my private key if I can, but if I can't, I still have to fill the mempool. So I'm going to announce it. I'm going to place it face up, and I'm going to say, I have a transaction from, in this case, Garcia.
Okay.
And allow everybody a chance to verify that and see it before I flip it over.
Okay.
So everybody now, exactly.
So the new ad, everybody sees it at the same time.
Exactly, yeah.
So basically what we're saying is,
So, yeah, you're each going to
I'm putting
refill
in a
it
transaction
in one
for
from
Tony.
your hand.
You've all seen Tony.
Yep.
Now I can check. So
I have a transaction from
you
Maria.
get it. It's like you choose then turn. So everybody sees it and it's like, oh, maybe that's. So.
Zoe.
Great. Once the mempool has been refilled.
It has to be close to your private.
Oh.
Maria.
One last thing, just in case you've forgotten, if you guys are playing any of these shiny cards right here, the power cards, you played a power card, so you're gonna also have to draw a power card there. Yeah. And now is the chance to play that power card. If nobody's played a power card, no? You have to have played a power card, like it's like shiny. You know, maybe you guys have one in your hands. If nobody's played a power card, then we go right back to the beginning, and you can follow along at this point now. So place your Bitcoins, if you want.
Quick question.
Yep.
Wait, they actually start picking up power cards? When
When you place I don't know if you guys see, but some of the transaction cards are shiny. So if you place one of those when you're refilling the mempool, you say, I have a transaction card. Anonymous, but it's like,
lightning video.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
That's
and then you would take. Okay, gotcha.
Exactly. So you guys all refilled the mempool? Now is your chance to place your Bitcoins, if you even have any. So you can. Probably don't need to
Anyone that's anyone that's close to private.
Are you guys, I want to make sure everyone's okay.
Now we gotta see who's the
Maybe that won't
closest.
happen. This time, your target number, so put all your old ones back.
Since you're already winning, we're gonna make sure.
Except for that one, exactly. This time, your target number is going to be the sum of
Hopefully everybody's about 30s.
So it's 10 plus 3
So you
plus
did
1
run
plus
declare
4.
Win.
This time you're going for a target of 16. Yeah. So whoever's closest to 16 wins this one.
And the lowest will be the winner. Like if it's 15 and
Yes,
16.
exactly. Exactly. Have you guys all placed your coins? So now we're going to mine. So mine is reaching into this bag. This time you're not going for 21. So is everybody, you got your target is the sum of this one. So the target, exactly, you're always going for the sum of the previous block. So you guys
Aiming for the closest to 7. We almost put down things
So
we
you
were
guys
supposed
place
to put
all your coins that you want.
down.
So you guys are aiming for these two things.
And then everybody has to be
Adding
below
these
there,
numbers.
right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we're closest. So you have to get closest to 17.
Oh, did you go for
17 or the closest?
Oh,
That's shoot.
what number did you get? Let's just back it up.
23, okay.
Basic upgrade.
Okay, there's a 9. I'm winning this.
Extra knots for the rest of the game. So whenever
You guys got it.
you pick so you can do that. Yeah.
Yes!
Everybody, have you guys drawn your
Okay, cool. So I gotta put 16 down here.
Oh, you got an extra.
Yeah, so
Say thank you very much. I'm gonna take my
it's a good position to be in. It's a good time in the game to give us
Exactly, I think it
cards.
always goes off. So now I gotta pick the one. That'll go into the block.
Target is 16.
So you're picking.
I can't remember what these were.
So you're gonna
Yeah, the answer's gonna be
you want to?
Is it closer in North sense?
And you can kind of follow along. It's quite repetitive process over and over.
We're gonna take.
Can it be higher than?
We're gonna take number 4. We're gonna take number 4 here. Okay. So now everybody needs to grab one in return.
It does, unless it's your enemy.
Okay, this is starting to make sense. Now we're moving. We're okay. So everybody's got. Oh,
I am cheating.
Okay, so go.
Oh, she goes and easy.
You can make the pocket.
I gotta put down one first. I'm gonna put down a power card.
So after the winner makes the block, you play the reward, which you've done.
And then I get
You're going to replenish your hands.
What is the power
party?
Started from the
After you replenish your hands,
started with 2.
you're going to refill them up. I'm broadcasting your transaction.
So when do we get to play our power cards?
And if you play that one, you say, I don't know. And you will play the power cards.
No. Was it a power card? Yeah, then
You guys got a power card?
So what happens when
Who played the power card?
myself and she?
Both of you. Great. So you each grab one of these. What number is it?
Mine's 8.
8. Oh, you got an A6 upgrade. You invested in better mining hardware, so for the rest of the game, you pick 1 extra nonce.
1 extra nonce. Oh, yes, I get 4.
Yeah, you do.
Nice.
It's yours. 21. Oh, interesting. Robinhood. So you take 50% of the unplayed bitcoins from the richest player and distribute them to the poorest player, even if that's you.
She's the richest player. Yeah, here goes all your money.
Richest player or you?
How many you got this guy? 1, 2, 3. I knew I put down that money for a reason.
So who's the poorest player?
Who's got no money? You picked.
Oh, interesting. So you give 50% of your bitcoins to each of them. Take
5.
the lesser amount. So
2 each.
you're lucky. You saved one of your boards.
Ooh, that is this Robin Hood one is now cool.
That's drawn a lot of this square.
There is.
Yeah, you save back up. I mean, if you want, you can override these rules. You got 51%.
Get the consensus. Okay, so now we're
Isn't controlled by you. Ooh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So whose turn?
17. Ouch. The fabled $5 wrench attack. You kept your private key very secure, but you told too many people that you own Bitcoin. Physically coerce you to give them their key. 1 key of your choice is now out of the game, so you have no private key anymore. Don't worry. Lock number 3, everybody can keys.
So, okay, wait, so.
Yeah, that's a very tragic turn of events, my friend. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So, Emily, good question. So now we've put down the new cards, right? You said your private is one of the cards. How does that work? Corresponds to one of the cards.
So you're trying to stack as many bitcoins on that one as possible.
Two going to the
Exactly. So you guys already, you placed your coins, now you calculate the sum of this block.
And that's what we have to be doing the next one before we take out.
What is the question now? Here she comes. Just in time.
So back up, you see, yes, exactly, you turn over.
So how do you get more fried keys?
Huh?
How do you get more
The
fried
sum of
keys?
So when we get to block number 3, everybody gets a new private key. When we get to block number 6, only the winner gets a new private key.
Do we,
The winner of that.
Emily, do we add these back to the deck or do we move them away?
It doesn't matter, you can move them away. So what is number 8? Oh, you know what, you can keep that if you, in case you forget. If you forget, you got a high,
But like 21 you can put back.
Sure, yeah.
Pretty good. You got 3 to go. I gotta look up 4. So I forget this.
Come on.
Guys, I'm really This is why my nieces don't play games.
She's winning everything.
Wow.
I take no prisoners.
Isn't it funny? It really pays to make blocks early in the game.
So that's
It's getting scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. It's happening all
So
the time.
closest to 18
Yeah,
is
exactly.
winner, chicken winner.
Wait, so who won this block? You did.
22.
You won that block.
So 4 off.
Great.
Four
Oh, great.
off.
Okay, yeah. So you can fill them. You can choose to fill them whatever four you want.
What would you win actually?
Oh, you have
The
like
winner chooses. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even
You
though we
can
have a tiebreak that you need to win. So he's 4 off, but he's 18, so 14, I'm at 22.
So in this case, the lower will always win. So sorry, yeah.
Alright, I can go with
See,
that.
that increased hash rate doesn't always correspond.
It's not always
to
good. We get you.
Yeah.
Let me actually, I'm doing my job, guys. So maybe I'm still actually in
If somebody else be looking at the time, it's not me. Not me.
It's supposed to be me.
So we go again, pick one.
That's it's a problem. It's like, how can you start on stage? It's playing a game.
So guys,
sorry.
win block, honestly not a
Wait,
huge
you
deal.
have to pick or you
Okay, cool.
When you guys fill block number 3, which you guys have done, all players are going to take another private key. So you're back in the game, and you guys all get a second private key. So after block 3, you will also all take a new private key.
Okay.
So now you have 2.
So that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, unless
Okay. Please.
so you guys all got your second private keys. Great.
Right? So we always supposed to have 4. Or we're supposed to have 3 and play.
So now's a chance, if you weren't sneaky enough about your first private key, you can still save yourself. You can still stack some bitcoins.
Guys.
So let's go right there.
Are you sticking in?
Alright, so. And I'm gonna put that down.
So,
Oh, I didn't announce what I was putting on.
James.
James. Putting down James.
Mama.
Okay.
One from
Anonymous. Alright, let's bet.
Probably should keep it simple. I want to make sure we finish the game, and if we have to skip a block, then please skip a block.
I was looking and then I got very
What did you get?
No.
It's literally
Oh, it's red. Can you find that? All wonders.
We're
The fabled $5
It's in the screen number.
So you need to draw.
kept your private key very secure but told
Draw it.
Yeah, you need to draw.
It's 15 or higher.
15 to 50.
one key of your choice is now
We've
out
got
of keys.
3. What?
Other than 15 or higher.
It's 3:20 now. This is supposed to end at
Oh shit, alright guys, let's pick it up. We only got 10
We
more
only got
minutes.
10 minutes for open.
That's okay. We're gonna do one more block, and then I think we're gonna, like, if we wanna try to find a winner. Yeah, I'll change the rules a little bit so we can still get some key stealing in here. And at least you have like a good preview of how the game works. So,
If you don't use your money, it can be taken from you.
So big three.
8. Oh. I get to grab 4 still. So 8 is the number.
Don't count to me out.
Everybody show what they got.
the rules in 5 minutes and pretend that like block 6 is
9. Remember the lower one counts. So if somebody has a 7, they win. No? Nobody with a 7, so I win?
Yeah, you win.
Yes! What do I win again this?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's take number 10.
Fantastic. Block number 4.
John.
Let's move that on the right. Oh, actually,
It's
since
such a problem with the
Wait,
names.
why?
They break it in, they're like,
I'm not gonna win now. So I won the block.
great.
So,
Collected your rewards.
Right.
Yep.
do I get to pick on this?
Did you? Sorry, you collected your reward already, the ones that were stacked here?
Yes.
Okay, and this was already on this?
Yes.
Okay, and you want to put it in here?
What do we do with this?
You fill the soft with it. You get to choose whichever 4 cards you want to put in here. So if you want to put this in there, you can.
Okay.
Yeah. Is
How
that
about
what you want to do?
coins?
Yeah, the coins will go in.
We're going.
Yes, and this will be confirmed.
And when they're confirmed, they count at the end of the game, basically.
Okay, that's great.
And we've got
Whoever's
here,
private key
you take
is
another one.
on this card, number 3.
Oh, okay.
Whoever's
I
private
have
key is
a
under this
Maria
can
that's
this
got
huge
nothing on
stack at the
her.
end of the game. Yes, and then you can fill it with whatever other keys.
What numbers did you guys get when you pulled? 4. Determine winner. What? Don't let the result use this card to remind the block before the winner falls into the check. So action card. So before anybody puts them down, you can remind them.
So let's
So instead of accepting this, you could have said no. You can say the next one. 12. Okay. 6. The footprints are there. You don't have to incorporate them. You must pass yes. So there's just second key. Both guesses are correct. You lose both keys. If only the first guess is correct, you don't lose anything. You only have one key. You have this card. You have 2. Oh, he's a red one. Alright, that's what you have.
Alright, everybody.
Because we only have
5 minutes left, and there's not quite enough time, I think, to finish the entire game.
let's review it very quickly.
With this next block, that whatever block, the next block, with the reward, the winner will be able to steal a key. Normally, this is only true of blocks number 8 or 9, but we're going to expedite the process in the name of time. So at the end, after you guys collect the reward for whatever block you're on, the next one, the winner will also get to guess somebody's identity. That guess will be made privately between the person who wins the block and whoever they're trying to steal the key from. They'll make that guess privately. You can use this sheet here so you remember all the characters. You might want, and then I think you have this one. If correct, then you will steal that key.
Okay. How do you know if it's
Then if
correct?
I won that block,
Then I have to tell you, I have to show you. I have to show you the like Bitcoin, you have to show. You have to prove for what you want to show. Alright, so next block is
So then you get that.
the next.
Oh, you get this, then you check how many.
Alright, we're all back. Block everybody, please, man. So now, that was 20, 29, 32. You're closest to 32, so now we're going to take notices. Wait, it's I gotta take it. I like this one. I was yeah, my card. But you do get to start something here. You do to read your cards. So only if somebody wants to play, which is going to happen now. Yeah, they have to get both keys correct.
okay, then the tie, the lowest will win. So what were you going for?
23.
And you're tied with
Something's happening to your phone.
29, so 17.
3. I need one more.
All right.
4. 16.
Guys, don't forget the winner of this block also gets to try to steal a key, and we'll consider this the last of the game.
This goes to you, right?
Oh, nice.
Damn it, you got 30. You got done.
For 1 nonce. Thank you very much.
What are you using, right?
What is the joke about saying? Roll it back. You don't like the result. I can roll it back.
That's the only
I will.
thing.
I will roll it back.
Oh, yeah. Now. Yes.
I think we need to. Oh, yeah, gets positive. Oh, 32. Yeah, it's 33. But you can roll his back. Yes, my private key. I don't like the result. I vote for roll back. I don't like the result.
The roll back. You guys got to roll back.
What are we aiming for?
So has the block been filled?
So this one is our last one, right? That was So our new one would be 33 according to what the numbers
So if
are.
you want to play
He's
the
got
jack
33
card, it
so
has to be
far.
before stone, which it is, yeah?
Yeah, so you would win. But now you're not going to win if we do rollback.
So you guys have to have a vote. Are you gonna
Rollback
1%.
Are you guys gonna count as one vote?
We got 3 rollbacks, so we can roll back.
Alright,
How do
you
we
can
roll
rewind
back?
it.
So we just, so all of this goes where then?
Do we just take the nonsense or what?
So you all, yeah, all 4 your nonsenses in and you can go
Oh,
again.
that's actually really nice.
This is the most important block. This is the last block of the game. Like whoever, you guys, whoever wins this block, get to steal.
Not from you because really I got to
Last guess.
Okay.
Please.
No, okay, no problem.
Must you get another key as well?
Okay.
Which one?
First name is like it's the end.
So we
Yeah,
still
we are
gotta
playing at the
get
end.
closest to 33.
It's true, yep. Yep.
Oh my.
Now normally we play a few more blocks, but we're also gonna pretend this is the last block.
28.
The last block, you can
Because
take
the one is lowest.
Yes,
32,
yes.
30,
So you did it, but it's
show me up. So
Were
much.
you successful? Oh, because you
But now, since we're not going on, you now
guys,
need
now
to
the
make
game
still
is
somebody
over.
who's grab a key.
So that's.
And whoever's grab a key,
Flip over your
you take,
keys.
if there's money on it, then you gain that money.
And you're going to also flip over all
Oh,
these
sorry.
tequila. Oh, that's good. Now, so these
Oh, remember, for him, because he's got a 6, and you want his, you have to get both right.
And you're good.
To
And
the-
you're going to flip over.
Either of us
That's
would only be
good.
one. I got the most, so.
So we.
Wait, you gotta guess what it is.
He's done, and
You can't just
Norman,
take
who's
it.
the winner?
You must guess, now you see mine. You must say, hey, okay, I think you have this one. Now, you can't choose from this one because you grabbed it with us.
So you can't steal this.
So, which one do you think?
One, not 2. 1. On top of one of the keys.
I'm not familiar, I am not familiar. Do I have to show them what I am?
No, you normally know, but we are going to you collected your rewards. Oh wait, who won this block?
Anyway.
Okay, so fill it with your homework. Never really call us it's over. So now, you're all going to reveal your private keys. First thing, actually, all of the coins in your hands, these
I'll take your sets.
These are just
That's
and normally you would have had
yeah, so all of this should have already been put into the block.
exactly, yeah, but you
Makes more
couldn't
sense.
have known that, we thought we'd play 9 blocks. So you'll flip these over, who has Fila? That's yours.
Cool.
Who has...
Nobody wants that block. Oh, hey.
Maria, that's you. So guys, we're gonna cut the game off now just because it's time. So at the end of the game, everybody's gonna flip their
Yeah, that's your money.
keys over,
Anybody jinx?
reveal who you were.
That didn't come on time. I was
Nobody.
moving around.
None, that's your money.
You guys are in the game, so that's okay. Yeah. So everybody's
Number 8.
flipping coins, yep. And now, let's see. Oh, all of the coins you have in your hands, please.
Oh, it's
They
also
don't
told you, so
count
it's also my money.
because they're not converted.
Okay, so I
But normally you would have had to leave the game.
But you don't have to know
You
it.
gotta flip them all over. 9. Who's 9?
2.
Yeah.
wins!
James, those are yours.
Winner,
Continue.
I gotta go be a host.
Girl. I'm dying to see who this is.
Okay, I know this game. This game is
There's no way.
Sharon Flo gave me.
I wish I was selling copies. They actually didn't arrive on time.
The winner.
However,
They still lose the cards and everything, so.
what did I do with my flyers?
Right here.
Okay. So guys, I was going to sell these games here at the conference, but unfortunately they didn't arrive on time. Hopefully they arrive tomorrow. But I have these coupons. You can order it online if, for 21% off if they don't arrive tomorrow. Hopefully they arrive tomorrow, but feel free to grab one.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for playing. I hope that you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
It's a very fun game.
I hope that you guys see how it can be an excellent education tool. It serves kind of as an analogy for explaining Bitcoin. My favorite thing ever is seeing people that are learning about Bitcoin have that little light bulb moment, like, oh, that's what mining is, or like, I even see like newbies like doing words, like when we're like making up words, like when we're like kind of verifying, like announcing, make sure you announce. My little sister was like, oh, am I noting right now? I'm like, actually, yes, you are, you know? So it's really awesome to see. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, there's some coupons here. Maybe you can order it online. We have some shipping issues. Fingers crossed. Thank you for joining. And yeah.
I wasn't here at the beginning.
Sure.
Is this your brainchild? Did you?
It is my brainchild. It is literally 50% me and 50% my business partner, Arnold Hubach. Yeah. So
they came up with that here in Namibia, not in Botswana.
We did. Yeah. It's true. It's true. We met in Namibia.
So we just one's coming now. There's a 5-minute break. You guys have a 5? Oh, sorry. I should actually still be your host.
Okay, so like, you're basking in your wind.
Thank you. I can also do it. It's no problem.
Sorry guys, I forgot to say you have a 5-minute break before the next session starts. So you feel free to go get some water, go to the bathroom. The next session is Pediment. It starts at 3:40. So please be back at 3:44. What will also be an amazing workshop. Emily, thank you so much. This is an amazing. I want one of those coupons. I'm getting this for my nieces. I'm about to work some ass. My nieces are going to lose to me in this. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to get yourself a coupon. You know you want this game. You want to beat your family members at it. You want to beat your friends at it. Awesome.
Oh, one more thing, may I? If anybody speaks any second languages, we are also always looking for translators. We have Spanish, but I love it.
Swahili.
Amazing, yeah. So we definitely give away copies of the game in exchange for community translations. I think we have 7 or 8 so far, including the ones that are in progress. So definitely connect with me if you're translating.
Have you been KG?
Yeah.
With the dreads, he's the translation man. He's also the which does translation. He went into different brain cells. So he already has a daily. He's at main stage. After I finish this,
I'm not translation.
I do, but they keep telling me that.
I don't know which one you are.
Oh, no.
Our Swahilis are so different.
Actually, it's this one.
What?
You guys have it.
But it's a triple. I only have a triple myself. It's not gonna put you. When is the next conference that we're at together?
Nice to meet you. I'm always fine.
When is the next conference that we're at together? Because I don't like the fact that it's cost zero months. This. When we were drinking too much, that was a problem. This is such a great game. This is amazing. thank you all for playing with, especially those that lost to me or that I won against. That was amazing. We're going to have one of a really amazing workshop that I wish I could have been present for, but I have to go be on another stage as a speaker, not as an MC this time. But today we have somebody here to explain to you what is going on with Pediment, how you can actually utilize this amazing technology, and who better than somebody that actually works on the protocol itself and as a developer. We've got Joshua here, and wait, what's going on with your? Oh, my bad. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna hand the microphone over. You're gonna do your, you sure you okay? All right. He has been on stage before, so he's not nervous. I'm nervous for him and myself. Enjoy it, guys. Is this recording? It's not recording.
Okay, so you're clicking from me.
Okay. Sorry, that's.
Okay.
This is a view, so please, I can. There's one way to alter the. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. You?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, this is going to be a longer version of the talk I already gave yesterday, the Bitcoin Circular Economy Summit. So, yeah, let's do a quick show of hands, like we just like roughly know what Pediment is. Okay, so we are doing an intro. Basically, yeah, we started Pediment development about like 4 years ago, so it's been a while. And the problem that was like realized at the time was that the non-custodial Lightning solutions, they don't work because they are like in practice just not user-friendly enough, with like the need to, you know, open a channel for a user, especially in high-fee environment that is way too expensive for like people in the global south. So yeah, we were kind of forced as a space into custodial solutions. So the Pediment approach was to make custodial solutions suck less, meaning we wanted to make them more private and as decentralized as possible. Yeah, maybe go to the next slide. Yeah, so the problem that we're trying to solve, like saying this in reverse, is that the solutions that most of you are currently using, which is Blink and comparable wallets, are extremely centralized and you have zero privacy. So they know your entire transaction history, they also know your balance. In South Africa especially, that might pose a physical threat to you if that balance is high, and so forth. And of course, like all your funds are held in one place, can be easily like seized or stolen, and in the case of Blink, it's not even in the country. Yeah, so you're like outsourcing your custody to one organization in El Salvador at the other end of the world. So yeah, that's the problem we're trying to solve, because we don't want to see like the custody of an entire country's Bitcoin with a single company in El Salvador. Yeah, that's what Pediment is saying how to solve. And what we've built is basically it is a community banking system that like groups of people in a community can set up together, and it will provide like a banking service for like friends, family, community members, and so forth. Yeah, so the wallet that you can then use is going to look and feel very similar to Blink and other custodial wallets. So you don't have to manage Lightning channels whatsoever. But the custody will be held with members of your own community, and your community as such is sovereign. Yeah, you don't depend on any outside servers, and furthermore, you have very good privacy. So the people that take custody of your funds, they don't see your transaction history, they don't see your balance, they don't see how many people in total are using their servers. The only thing that they're really seeing, sorry, that's a step too far. The only thing that they're really seeing is the total amount in custody and the number of transactions per day, but they can't correlate this to any individual. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the next step. Next slide. So, for a while it was quite complicated to actually run a Fediment. You had to have quite a bit of technical knowledge and expertise, but we managed to like massively simplify this over the last year. So the new deployment options are like the classic node in the box options, like Umbrella OS and Start9. But you can also run this on an old laptop if you're familiar with Docker and you configure that. So it's a very easy service to set up. After that, you have like a graphical UI, you just click through it. The good thing, or the easy thing about like deploying this, is you only need to set this up once, which is maybe an effort of like 10 to 15 minutes. And afterwards, there's very little to do. So the system is completely automated. You maybe check in on it like once a month. Lightning, for example, is as a service provided to you. So you don't have to manage, even as an operator of the federation providing the service to your users, you don't have to change, you don't have to manage channels in any way, you don't have to worry about liquidity, etc. Like, this is like offered to you as a service, and you don't have to trust the service provider. So and the difference to a custodial service like Blink is that trust and service is in the same entity. Yeah, the people that you trust with the custody are also the same people that serve you with Lightning and manage the channels and liquidity, etc. With Fediment, this is split. You trust like friends and family in your community, but they don't need to operate the Lightning service for you, which is like quite, time intensive. You just have to run your Fediment Guardian on a Start9, you set it up once, and afterwards it like keeps chugging along. Yeah, maybe go to the next slide. Yeah, so once this federation has been set up, you can connect it with like a variety of apps. The most known one is Fedi. Many of you maybe have used it already. But there are now also different clients which are focused on being just Fediment clients or just payments. One of the new ones is Conduit, which recently landed in the Play Store. So yeah, that's what it looks like. You can see it's very similar to a regular like custodial client, like the Blink client. So you only worry about making Lightning payments, generating addresses, and also making eCash payments, yeah, which we will later get to, a special kind of payment. And you have no like personal channel management to do. You don't have to worry about inbound liquidity whatsoever. Yeah. Okay, maybe to the next slide. Yeah. So we've set a system like this up down here in South Africa. with the help of members from 4 different circular economies, actually. So maybe I didn't elaborate on that enough. So the system is federated, meaning it's not one person running the system, but it's a group of people, each of which run their own server. And these servers connect and they operate the system collaboratively. So the Bitcoin funds are always held in like an on-chain multisig. So in the case of like 4 servers, which we call guardians, it would be a 3 out of 4 multisig. And actually one of those servers can go offline and the system is going to work completely fine. Yeah, so we did a trial run with like 4 members, like 1 member from like 4 different communities, which are Bitcoin Ekazi, Bitcoin Vincent, Bitcoin Ubuntu, and Bitcoin Sedgefield. Yeah. Each of them is running a guardian for the last 2 months, together forming the Good Hope Federation, aptly named after the Cape of Good Hope. Yeah, and me and a few other people have been using the app as a daily driver for like the last 2 months. Being in South Africa, living completely on a Bitcoin standard. And I have to say it works remarkably well. I myself am a bit surprised how reliable it actually is, because remember, those people, they are running OnStart 9s on their own internet connection at home. So it's not a commercial grade internet connection, but it's like in some case like a line of sight South African internet connection that falls off when it's too windy. Yeah. Maybe if we can go like one slide back, is that possible? Yeah. So the Conway client, for example, has this feature here that has like 4 dots for like the 4 members of the Good Hope Federation. And in this case, you're actually connected to all 4 of them at the same time. But it will also work fine if you are only connected to like 3 of them, but the 4th is fine. You can also operate this with like more than 4 people. It could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 7, it could be 10. In which case, like thresholds changes. So it would be like a 5 out of 7 multisig or a 7 out of 10 multisig on chain. The system, however, is like just as fast in performance, so it doesn't get any worse. It just gets more secure, actually. Yeah. So. Yeah, what else there? What else there to mention? Yeah, so we'll be rolling this out more and more over the next. Oh, there's a question already. Nice. Questions are great, actually.
So I remember, or I might be wrong, but as far as I remember, in the beginning it was not possible to exchange, to swap a federation, one of the Guardian members. What is the case now? So if we have a 3 or 4 multi-sig here, and like let's say the Kunekasi has some whatnot issues, and it just like cannot go online ever again for whatnot reason, and then you have like a 3 of 3 basically. Would it be possible to take out Bitcoin Ekasi and like remove it and swap in another Guardian?
No, that would not be possible. You would have to.
Can I interject? Sorry, he's going to give you the technical answer. So in practice, what will happen is you'll spin up a new federation, and the people will just migrate over to a new 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then the old one will just fall away.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but technically, it's not. Yeah.
I was looking at the both. I mean that you can move over. Yeah.
So like swapping it out without your users not having to do anything is unfortunately not possible.
Yeah.
It will, however, be possible that you like set up a new federation and then you point your users to it, and they just have a single button in the app to click, and then they move over. For like a real serious like multi-year setup, you would maybe want to go with like 5 out of 7 for like that reason, because if first Guardian goes down or is lost or whatever, you don't have to act like immediately, because now you're down to like a 5 or 6, and that's still pretty good. Yeah. Any other questions maybe? I think this a bit more interactively. No, no questions yet.
You might have already answered this because I came late. But can you have like 5 of 8, or do you have to have 7?
No, the thresholds are fixed by the higher number, so it would be 6 out of 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it, like a percentage basis? Or?
Yeah, it's like strictly more than 2/3. So
Okay.
3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 7, 6 out of 8, 7 out of 9, and then 7 out of 10. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah, there's one.
Besides the hardware to install or run the servers,
Yeah.
what other costs are associated with running the federation?
No costs. Yeah. So, yeah.
I haven't used the PDF in a while. I just downloaded it again because I also heard you can pay and pick and pay. The Good Hope Federation, so is this private or how does it, because I see the Discover thing and it shows my 2.
No, the Good Hope Federation is not that public.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So do you have to get invited into a federation?
Yes. Yeah. So the idea of like we have a couple of public federations, of course, that I use right now, but if federations get too big, you open up yourself to all kinds of like regulatory issues, of course. So our approach to this is make this so easy to deploy that it is very much possible to run a federation for like 100 members. So they would never be like publicly exposed. It would be like starting out at like one federation of the garden route. You know, you can like grow with this to like 1,000 members or maybe like 5,000 users, something on that size. And then they would like gradually start to break off into smaller federations where maybe something like Whitsun, they town of 500 people. Eventually, they would run their own 3 out of 4 federation, or Bitcoin Ecology would run their own federation. Yeah.
So I mean, how do you move your funds from one federation to another federation? Just like select which one you want to be part of.
Exactly. So with the client, you can like sign up to multiple federations at the same time. You can easily switch between them. So you create a Lightning invoice in one and pay it with the other, and that's how you move funds over. Yeah, or like with an on-chain payment between the federations, just as well.
And what's that cost between? Do you pay sats for the movement?
Yeah, well, if you make an on-chain payment, you just pay the on-chain fees with Lightning. You pay Lightning fees. It is like comparable to the Lightning fees that you know today, 0.1% or on that order, depending on close they are connected. Yeah, if like we have a concept that is, it's called a gateway. So that is basically your Lightning service provider. So when you set up a federation for the first time, you don't have Lightning available right away. You need someone that is like running a Lightning node combined with our software, which connects to your federation and provides Lightning services for you. This is called a gateway. If you have 2 federations that are connected to the same gateway, those payments are especially cheap. They never go over Lightning, they are just exchanged over the gateway. But most importantly, the gateway is untrusted, so it's an untrusted service provider. The worst thing it can do is it can go offline or provide a bad service.
Okay, so
yeah.
So like, I join a federation, and do I then make an on-chain or Lightning payment into it to like move funds into the federation?
You can do both.
And then I use my Fedi wallet.
Yeah.
To spend, but am I spending Lightning or am I spending on-chain?
However you want. So if we go like one image back.
Like I'm living off Bitcoin, so for me it's typically I put on-chain funds in and I spend slowly over time while Lightning wherever possible, and then there's the odd one out on-chain payment if like someone isn't on Lightning yet, like Proton Mail for example, but like Fedium abstracts all of that away. You just scan it, no matter if it's a Lightning invoice, on-chain address, just works.
So you're not doing a swap or?
No, you don't do it. It's all one balance. So yeah, we have like here, we have like 3 different types of payment options integrated in one balance. The first one is Lightning, which is like regular invoices and also LNURL. So you can use this to like set up a safe, for example, also as well, similar to Blink. The second one is on-chain Bitcoin. Yeah, you're all familiar with that. And the third one is eCash, which is a privacy technology that makes the payments in the same federation, like very private. You can't connect them to the same user. But that only works inside the federation. So there's like a Fediman-specific thing. You can only do it with people that are in the same federation. Yeah. And there was a question there?
In terms of network connectivity, are there any censorship resistance built into Fediman? For example, preventing the Guardian from being taken down?
Well, right now we don't use like.
So
yeah.
Let me answer that. Right now, the Guardian, like the connections all just happen ideally directly. Like we are using a protocol called IRO, and that uses like some infrastructure to create direct connections between the user and the Guardians. But that's obviously, if you're running it at home, not always ideal, depending on your situation. So what we're working on right now is on the Fediman project, an ability to just one click turn the Guardian into a Tor Guardian as a hidden service. And like that will probably, I would say, land around mid this year, like end of the second quarter. Like no hard promises, but yeah, we are working on it. Like Tor is like the solution. We are profiting a lot from the developments that have been going on in the Tor project itself that made it so much easier now to run a hidden service inside Fediman. Like even just a year ago that wasn't possible yet, and that's why we just don't have it yet, but now it's ready on the Tor side, so we are integrating.
Great, Tor is exactly what I had.
Yeah, exactly.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, most importantly, everything needs to stay like really, really simple.
Yeah.
So like everything but like a simple button that you just click once is kind of not acceptable for us.
That's why like the previous hidden services weren't really an option. Like Payment already supports Tor actually, but nobody is like able to set it up reliably. So that's why we haven't been promoting it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the single button click, I think we can make it work. And then I hope that most of the like at home hosted federations will just turn it on and be more private.
Yeah. But also to reiterate this, the idea here is that like the federations are like reasonably small enough that you are not like worth the picking. Yeah, maybe you serve like 100 or 200 users. So the answer to a lot of those questions is actually like make this easier to deploy. So people, like more people can run it, and you move away from this like public federation model, which is only ever a crush, because you, of course, you're paying like a huge target on your back whenever that's successful. Yeah, it's kind of like a doomed to fail situation. Yeah.
And also, the bigger the federation gets, the further the average user away from the Guardians, like the trust sense.
Yeah.
If you have a federation with 1 million users, then you can't convince me that every single user has like a strong reason to trust the Guardians anymore.
No. The idea with like Fediman is that you know the Guardians, or at least like a subset of them, reasonably well. You know, you live next to each other, they are friends of friends, and that circle is only so big. So the whole this like public federation crutch also like defeats it, because they are like anonymously run, and that is that is all like fun and games until like while we're just like Bitcoiners having fun and like trying new technology and making like $5 payments. But this is a serious banking system, so it's not just to put like 20, 50 or 100 bucks in there and then like pay your coffee with it kind of as like a novelty item. This is banking infrastructure. So right now the on-chain fees are very cheap. You can go on-chain for like 50 cents, $1 maybe. But they don't have to stay cheap, and we already seen it once where they were like on average like $20, $50. So if you're in a situation where like on-chain fees are, let's say, on average $50 for an on-chain transaction, like the smallest amount that you can take economically like on-chain would be like $10,000. Yeah, because if you go on-chain and go back, that's 100. That's like 1%. Yeah. If you're using more, going like on-chain and back like all of the time, you're already more expensive than like existing systems. Yeah, please.
I'm talking about things, like is the proposed main use case that you have your cold storage and you have your Fedi wallet and you have that you use for spending, and if you earn into the Fedi wallet as well, and depending on that balance, you send to cold storage.
Exactly.
Like basically two kind of.
Exactly. And you could do this with like a.
Sorry, is that the point?
Yeah, that is a point. And I mean, you can do the same with like any custodial system, of course, which might or might not be private. But the point of federating it is pushing this like the amount when you should really go on chain higher and higher. So in a single sig, you might like really only want to keep an amount that is not that significant to you. While in like a 7 out of 10 multi-sig, you might keep a year's worth of savings before you need to go on chain.
The risk for me is not so much how much is in the Fedi, but more the range attack in your Fedi wallet.
Well, that is then like similar to your like on-chain risk.
No, well, I mean, you've separated your physical body from your keys. You know, you've got a multi-sig. You know, but then your active daily use. You're not looking to put all your wealth into a phone.
I would say you are speaking as a power user here, and like most people that maybe aren't even Bitcoiners yet, they are not in the position that they have that amount of wealth that they would even be considering like the multi-sig, multi-jurisdictional setup process. So I think for you it makes a lot of sense, and we even like Fedi has built Fediment modules that allow you to have a multi-sig inside Fediment again. So that exists already, but I think something we are overlooking quite often as like people from the West or like with Western standards of living is that for a lot of people on-chain will just be unaffordable, and so we need to make it safe enough. These scaling and like Bitcoin banking options that they can actually keep their life savings in there, like because for many people on-chain will just not work.
Yeah, please. Speaking of the fees and keeping it inside of the federation, are there any fees involved with e-cash transactions within the federation?
Come again?
Are there any fees involved with e-cash transfers?
Yeah, there are fees involved with e-cash transaction inside the federation. They are mainly a DOS protection, and they go to the guardians, which are currently 1 SAT per e-cash transaction.
No, 0.
Sorry?
1 SAT.
The entire transaction.
And 0.1 per node, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're relatively small, like it's maybe 3 or 4 sets because you're filling up your wallet with all the different e-cash denominations. But like for any real transactions other than like a fun little 21, like just playing around with it, it turns out to be insignificant.
Yeah, even for South African standards, yeah.
For now.
You had a follow-up to this, or?
It's actually a different question, but please.
Okay. Yeah. Daniel, you want to direct in there?
Yeah. I wanted to add the idea of this is you know in the fiat system there is the banking is fractional reserve. So the fractional reserve is the whole fiat system, right? So the idea of this is for the community to have full reserve banking. Right? So fractional reserve bank, full reserve good. So all of us, we can run nodes. So all of us, we can have a full node. Okay? But that is not enough. So if all of us have a full node, then we can provide full reserve banking for our community. So that's it.
That's the point.
That's the.
Yeah, comparing it to a full reserve bank is good.
This is for you to provide full reserve banking for your community. Yeah. So all of us, you run a node, all of us node, and then we do full banking for our community. But the community, they're not node runners. Maybe they don't understand Bitcoin, but
there are the people that would use a Blink wallet today, but have like stronger needs. So if you're the person today that has like a significant amount of money to you, which is like in the case of South Africa, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, so like a year's worth of savings maybe, and you have that right now in a Blink wallet because you need it like Lightning enabled, yeah, and actually spend a little of that, and not just having cold storage. This is for you, yeah, especially if you have like like tax concerns, etc., etc. So yeah, those are the people. Like if you have $10, $5 in Bitcoin, you buy a coffee with it like once a month. Just put it in Blink. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's insignificant. But if you are like an active Bitcoin user, yeah, and you have like a significant, to use significant volume and balance of Bitcoin that you need to have like for everyday usage, this is for you. So one use case that you could imagine here, we had a typical one of being having savings in Bitcoin or getting paid in on-chain Bitcoin and then moving them into Lightning. The other way around is like you might have a business, and as I said, you can run a point of sale against this. So you can set up a point of sale in your business with this as a backend. You just get the funds immediately in your federation, yeah, and can, of course, just like Blink, spend them in everyday life. Or eventually, once you have saved up a significant amount, you can afford the on-chain transaction and then move them on-chain. With the significant difference that no one sees your transaction history, no one sees how much money you have, no one sees how much money your business made. Yeah. And while you're saving up to like the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to like warrant an on-chain transaction, you keep this money safe in like a 5 out of 7, 7 out of 10 intermediary. Of course, the phone is still single sig. So if like your worry is like that you are like have a wrench attack or something, you're in the same situation as with a single sig on-chain wallet, of course. But it's still significantly better than being on Blink, where you have like a single point of failure, completely unknown, outside of your control. Yeah, at least it's like intermediary step is like a 5 out of 7 multi-sig of people that you know. Yeah.
Sorry, just to add, another benefit of this is that over time the fiat system will like be against the nodes. So there will be a lot of surveillance for the nodes. So if big node people running nodes and self-custody, they will be attacked with surveillance because the network is transparent. So the people, like the people that are being provided this full reserve banking system, the surveillance will not get to them. So the surveillance of like the transparent blockchain stops at the node, but it doesn't go up to the people that you're providing the full reserve banking system. Yeah. So it protects the people. So if you do this in large scale, this is like decentralized grassroots full reserve banking for everyone.
Just one more question. In unlikely event, let's say something catastrophic happens to the guardians, let's say they are 4. What's the fallback thing for the people who are using the...
If like everything happens to all the guardians at once, there's no fallback. Yeah, it's like, this is not magic, of course. Like that's all,
Are guardians able to do sort of like backups of their...
Yeah, of course. So the guardians, they can do backups, and it's actually very easy to back up. So when you run a guardian in the beginning, you will make a static backup that you can put on an USB drive or whatever. And this is the only thing that you ever need to restore your guardian. So you can put this USB drive somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then if someone like breaks into your home and steals the start 9, it's not a problem. You get a new start 9, you put the USB drive in your backup. So this is like it's much easier to back up than a Lightning node. It's not the same. It's like, because Lightning node needs to continuously be backed up. This you do once, very similar to a private key, and afterwards there's like, yeah, you can always recover from that.
So generally, I think you need at least one guardian to survive, and then you can switch the others from that. Ideally, a threshold of them, but in the worst case, like if you have one left, then you can very likely recover from
because
that.
you need to get like the history of all the transactions from somewhere. So if all the machines are like destroyed at once, the money is still gone. But if you have like one machine left, you can still like, you can get this. Yeah, and in reality, like in practice, of course, we had, for example, in this test run, one of the 4 mistakenly deleted their guardian in an effort to update it. And this was actually not a problem because we could recover that guardian from like the backup they put in on an USB drive like a week ago. Yeah, so you should, like, if one of the guardians goes down, you should get a new, like, you should fix the hardware or whatever the problem is and recover if you have to, you know. But yeah, then it will work fine. There was another question.
Getting back to trust in guardians, what can a single compromised guardian do?
A single compromised guardian can do nothing.
But do they have access to transactions? What can they see? What information?
Well, they do have access to the transaction history, but the transaction by itself tells you almost nothing.
So in fact, the transaction history is public right now.
Yeah.
So there's a website called observer.payment.org that shows like volumes of public federations transaction counts. But like from the transactions that you can publicly see, you just can't learn anything about the users. That's the beauty of it. Like you don't know who made the transaction because one of the sides of the transaction at least is eCash, and that just cannot be. Like you cannot follow along.
It's not like the coin sentence where you like can follow the flow of money over time. You see the amount of, you see the total balance and you see the number of transactions, but all transactions are like they seem completely independent of each other. So you can't tell you can't tell like this cluster of transaction probably belongs to some user and this other cluster is not possible. Every transaction is completely independent. Yeah, so that's why there's no toxic data. Also, as a guardian, you don't have to be scared about like someone copying your database or breaking into your guardian and stealing data. There's quiet privacy. So there's no like critical data on the guardian to be leaked, really. As Eric said, right now, the data is even public. We could make it private, theoretically, or significantly more private, and not expose all of this. But yeah, even if you kind of expose even if you expose everything that the guardian knows and keeps on disk, you still know very, very little. So
that's by design. Like when I built the current version that's like public, I was like, why should we hide what the guardians know? Like our goal is to build software that's in private against the guardians. Like that's the beauty of this here. Even if all the guardians were compromised, they still can't be anonymized users.
Yeah.
So maybe a nice analogy is imagine that the cashier here only takes cash, and we'd all be paying with cash. In the end, the cashier knows like this amount has come in, and this I gave out, or it doesn't even know what it gave out as change. It just knows what came in, but it doesn't know what is the transaction history of the nodes or who paid with which node in the end. Like they just know I have like 400 rand, 4,000 rand more than this morning.
Yeah. If you break in, you only see the full balance, and that's it, kind of. So yeah, this is you have a very unique relationship there. For once, because you're trusting a group of people and not a single individual, which is also great for the guardians, by the way, because you yourself can still sleep well, even if you custody like 10 Bitcoin. The probability that you're losing this is very, very low. So you don't have to lock this guardian away anywhere. You can just like put it on your night board or like next to your router or anything. You don't have to like absolutely freak out about where the backup is and if like someone's going to find this USB stick or whatever. The individual guardian, if you run especially if you run like 5 or 7 or 7 out of 10, the individual guardian is like not that important. You have good backup options, and even if all options fail, the system is still going to work fine, and eventually you can move the funds out and for the users. And the other side of this is that you trust people with their custody, but you don't trust them with your privacy, not at all. They couldn't tell if they tried.
Does that extend to transactions as they're happening as well?
Come again?
I kind of assume that maybe there's some kind of validated mechanism like with Liquid, where one of the nodes are the ones validating a transaction, and during that time, that node has insight into the transaction. Is there no visibility on that level either?
No, like the only privacy leak could be right now on the network layer, but like Fediman by design doesn't lock anything there. Like you'd have to have a malicious guardian, and also we're fixing it with Frog.
Yeah. So you could try to correlate IP addresses over time, but that only works so well. Yeah.
So I like the analogy, and it's what I'm talking about is the you can see, okay, this is the person giving me the node. That's the.
But that's on the network layer, and you can fix it with Frog. And there's no special data you need to verify if a transaction is valid. Like the people who are verifying, like they only see the public data for that.
Yeah, and if you make an eCash transaction, the client sending the money actually never comes online. So you can't even correlate IP addresses. For the mint, kind of like the eCash that is then like redeemed by the receiver, so they see the receiver come online, but they have no idea. They like it is mathematically impossible to tell where that eCash is coming from. Actually, you have in that sense you have like perfect privacy. Yeah.
One last question: is it open source?
Yes. So Fediman is completely open source, and the client app that we are showing you today is also completely open source. That's also maybe the last slide where you see the codes here. So the app that I showed you before is like freshly released to the Play Store. To the App Store, unfortunately, I didn't quite make it, so hopefully like in a couple of days it will be released. But yeah, if you have an Android phone, you can scan the QR code on the left, download the app, and then you can scan the QR code on the right and join the Good Hope Federation. And use it over the next days, experiment with it.
Give feedback.
Yeah, give feedback to me if you have any issues, and yeah. Yeah, there's another question.
Will Good Hope stay online, and what actually happens if like a federation is shut down?
Yeah, so Good Hope is going to stay online for at least the next week. Right now it's still a bit of a testing thing. But if a federation gets shut down, the guardians, they can go to the dashboard and notify, and then it will be shown in the app, like, hey, this federation is shutting down. And the guardians, they can also configure like a follow-up federation that they recommend to join instead and migrate your funds to at the next possible time. And then you just click join in the app, and yeah, you will join the federation. Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to bring it back. So we've got the Good Hope Federation running, and there's like a surfer, and there's a guy that does design, and there's like this is not technical people. It took us like 20 minutes to set up the federation. If you've got a Start 9, it's really like downloading the Fediman package, clicking install. I think within the next years, every family that cares about privacy, cares about keeping their family's custody safe and stuff like that, should just run this. It's really easy. Start experimenting with it. Get 3 friends together, just start using it and go from there.
Okay, any more questions? Yes, sir. Yeah?
Do you have external entities like auditing the code and like testing, or like mainly internal testing?
Well, the code is, as I said, the code is all open source. But yeah, we do a bunch of testing, like also internal to the Fediman project. I would say like standard for open source. project. So we have like 5 developers working on this full time, and like a few others that are coming and going. So yeah, this is not a small project or like something one or two people put together over the last year. This has been going on for years. Over the time, overall, like millions of dollars have been poured into the development, like just into wages for the developers and so forth. So yeah, this is the end result of a like 3 to 4 year effort, depending on how you count. Huh? 4.5 years for him actually. He's been at this for 4.5 years. For me, it's been like 3. Yeah. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. So, thank you, Joshua, for that exercise. That was amazing. I love to see it when we have a conversation, we have a speaker in here, and then everyone actually participates, and it becomes a debate, and then the conversation is so enriching. We really, really appreciate you guys participating. Opening the conversation. That was awesome. We take a few minutes break, and then we have Simon up next. Okay, so straighten version 2, step towards mining decentralization. I think if you're a miner, a developer, or just a big Bitcoin enthusiast, you'll live understanding why transaction selection matters and how to be part of the solution. Let's up ready. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's give our guys a minute or 2. Okay, straighten version 2, the step towards decentralization. Here you go.
Welcome, Simon.
Hello, everyone. So, my name is Simon. I'm a Btrust grantee working on Stratum V2. So today we're gonna do basic coverage about mining and what Stratum V2 has to do with mining.
Maybe you can do it from the laptop.
Yeah.
Maybe click this link.
Try.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
So this is what we're gonna cover. I'm gonna try and keep it short and simple, but you get the concept. So we're gonna do basic mining, how miners talk to pools, centralization, and what Stratum V2 is bringing to this. So let's get
Sorry, son.
see the battery.
Try again?
Yeah, just click on this link.
I did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mining basics. So how many of you know what goes on when you do a Bitcoin transaction. Who knows who controls the transactions you're sending? So this is a big question. So whenever you're doing a Bitcoin transaction, you never really have control of, is my transaction gonna be forwarded or not? And here's where our pools come into play. So Bitcoin mining started with Satoshi, that's 2009. So firstly, Satoshi mined with the CPU, and then a gamer discovered, oh, I can use a shovel instead of using a spoon to mine. So the GPU was it. And then an FPGA was introduced. This was never really used because it was complex. So most miners didn't want to spend time coding the board. And then in 2012, the big excavator came, which is the ASICs. So ASICs, they do 200 trillion calculations per second. So that became, it made life much harder for the CPU guys and the GPU guys, so they had to step down. And up to now, ASICs is the real game, and the main leader is Bitmain. I'm sure you've heard of it. So we're in the ASIC era. So these chips are application specific. So they target the SHA-256 of Bitcoin. So what mining is, it's basically a lottery. I like to call it that way. So it's about who guesses the correct number that contains the winning block. So for the technical people, so a block header is an 80 bytes of data. Then you have nonce for those who played the game. So we'll see how the extra nonce came into play. So this is how a block header looks like. So we have the version, the previous block hash, the Merkle root, timestamp and difficulty bits, and the nonce at the bottom. So the Merkle is what determines the transactions or what the block looks like. So a change in any, so this is how it looks like. So you start with the transaction, then you hash it, and then it goes back to the Merkle tree. So in case any transaction is deleted from this, it changes the whole concept. So this is what controls this is where the block control happens. Here we have the mining loop. So the block header, you get work from the pool, you work towards getting the nonce. So if the hash is less than target, you submit to pool. And it's a repeated, what do you call it? It's an on-repeat work, monotonous. So you're doing the same thing daily. And here's where ASICs do it best. They can do this, they can do 1 billion transactions or guesses in a second. And then you have the nonce problem. So 4 bytes is equals to like 4 billion combinations, 4.3. And the solution came in when pools introduced extra nonce. So an extra nonce gives you another 4.3 billion chances. So whenever you include an extra nonce while you're doing your computation, in total you have like around 8.6 billion tries to winning. Then we have the share difficulty. So this is easier. So share difficulty is about the shares you're submitting to a pool. So most miners mine to a pool vis-a-vis solo mining. And pools pay you per the share you're giving to them. So the more shares you give, the more your earnings. So why pool exists? So take a picture of you trying to mine alone. It might take you 700 years. But if you join a bigger or a medium pool, it only takes 20 minutes. So for solo mining, it's a lottery ticket, but for pool mining, it's a steady paycheck. So you're paid every share you give. So for most miners, they consider this pool mining because they want to earn each day. So this is how pools work. Miners point to a pool, and the pool is connected to the Bitcoin network. So once the pool wins, it shares the block reward with the miners. So pool basically aggregates the hash rate and shares the reward. So for pool payment, so these are the accounting or payment ways. So you have the PPS, so paid per share, and then you have the full pay per share. Here's where the pool takes the risk, but once they win, they take what's in there. So a majority of pools use this. So most miners don't know how much fee the pool collected. So the pool pays you prior to winning a block. So they're taking that risk. And then we have the pay per N shares. So this one is medium. It's both of you taking the risk, the miner and the pool. So this is the FPPS. So this caters for 70% of the hash rate. So whether you're talking hand pool, Foundry, all these big guys, Luxor. So as long as you're pointing hash rate to them, you're getting paid. But then you never really know what's in your block. So they only hand you the work, and then you work on the work. So you never get to decide what transactions are included in this block. So mining protocol, this is just a language. So the pool tells the miner, here's the work. The miner says, I found something. And the pool says, the miner hands over. And the pool says, good job, or not valid. So it's basically a language or a way for miner and pool to communicate. So that's the language. And then currently this is the majority, Stratum V1. So miner speaks, they talk via the TCP socket, which is the default Bitcoin one. So this is what a Stratum V1 message looks like. It's a JSON, so it's text-based, no encryption, and the pool controls everything. So but the bad thing about this is, so there's no encryption, so your ISP can see it, the government can see it. Then you run the risk of hash rate hijacking, because there's no authentication. Lastly, JSON is inefficient. So JSON eats up or chews up a lot of bandwidth. And then lastly, the pool controls the template. So the template is something that's never spoken about. So miners just get the template, do the work, get rewards. That's what most miners do. But this is a critical point that we never really talk about. So the next bit is the centralization problem. So if you look at this statistic, it's a handful of big pools. And what does this mean to Bitcoin? So in as much as we say Bitcoin is decentralized, this is a red herring. In that, if government forced these 10 pools to sanction transactions, it means Bitcoin is no longer decentralized. So it means you'll find transactions from certain regions are not being included in the new blocks. So that means there's no transaction propagation. And this has been a big discussion. So if you do a proper analysis, you'll see a lot of these pools depend on the ant pool block template. So they are all leveraging ant pool. And this is what Stratum V2 is trying to counter. So the censorship threats, so it's already happening. So if you look at mining protocol.observe, you'll see how he analyzes, like he can show before
expected block transactions, and then the last one, the transactions that are confirmed. So he always states like these were the sanctioned transactions. So it's called mining.observe. So I talked about 51% being a red herring. So people talk about hash power taking out Bitcoin, but it's really about transactions you control that go into a block. I think that's the critical bit we never talk about. So the real world evidence, so Bitmain using the FBPS, so that's a debt slavery. So they pay you, but you never really earn fully from the actual wins. So let's say you're dictating the transactions that are going into the block, and you know each transaction has a fee. So as a miner, you get to earn the full fee. But with the current model, the pool gets everything. So you can check out mempool.space/stratum. So this is the template problem. So miner has no input when it comes to transaction. So the pool has full control. And here's where we bring in Stratum v2. So it's trying to redesign how do miners get back the control for transactions. How do they dictate their block templates? So these are the improvements. So from JSON it sends binaries. So binaries are 70% more efficient and lighter than a JSON file. There's encryption. So this means your ISP doesn't know what transactions you're transmitting. And then there's authentication. So this shows that you own. So no one can hijack your hash rate. So if they don't have your key, they can't really tamper with your hash rate. And then there's bandwidth. So bandwidth, SV2 takes less bandwidth. That's making it less latency. So it reduces your latency in terms of broadcasting and processing of blocks. So these are the sub-protocols. So we have the mining protocol, which deals with the distribution, share submission. We have the job declaration. So miners declare their own block templates. So this is what brings about the decentralization feature. Then you have the template distribution. So efficiency and updates. So low latency block propagations. So SV2 roles. So the mining device is dealing with the miner. The translation proxy. This means your already existing miners. Translation proxy translates it now to SV2. So that means you don't have to buy new miners. So you can plug it into your existing mining farm. Then you have the template provider. So this is what talks to the Bitcoin node. And here is where you get your custom block template. Then you have the pool server. It's the hash rate aggregator. And lastly, the job declarator server. So this accepts jobs. So SV2 types. So you have the standard. So this is still controlled by the pool. What you get from the standard channels is encryption. And then you have the extended channel. So here's where the miner controls everything. Like you build the block from scratch. So part 5 is no need for new firmware. So SV2 solves this by having the translator proxy. Because a lot of miners, the reason why miners don't tend to adopt new protocols is that there's always a firmware compatibility issue. They don't want to install new things in their farms or in their mining sites. So the less work, the better for them. So that's the translator proxy. So your ASIC, which is a V1, translates the whatever message is being sent by your miner into an SV2. So if you're pointing to an SV2 compatible pool with an SV1,
So it makes sure there's no barrier in terms of how they're communicating. So you get SV2 benefits without a firmware update. So this is the most common configuration. So whereby you have your SV1 setup, the translator, and then you're pointing now to one SV2 pool. So why you need this? So as I was saying, you already have your existing. You don't want to change what you already have. So you just want to plug in to what you already have and receive the SV2 benefits. So these are the configurations. I'm just gonna go through them a bit fast. So A is whereby you're dealing with SV2. So it means you have, yeah. So for A, it's pure SV2. So SV2 servers to SV2 minus to SV2 pool. So the pool still controls the template. In configuration 2, the miner controls the template. Configuration C, pool controls template. So no firmware needed, no firmware update needed. And then D, this is where we call the sovereign miners. So you control everything. And still there's no need for firmware update. So D is the full version. So here's where you run your own node, you do your own pool. Like basically, we've seen this before, I think with Apollo, the Apollo stack. If you've heard of that miner. So it allows you to like mine on your own node. So this is our job declaration flow. So you have your Bitcoin node, it gets, I want to mine on this template, then we have the JDS pool. So the template is, if the template is valid, you go ahead. And then the miner, so it works on your own template. And shares found is equals to pool credits, your hash rate. So what is our what JDS validates? So it checks transactions are valid, checks the Coinbase pays pool correctly, and it ensures there is no double spend or malformed data. So SV2 is not a silver bullet. So FPPS is still dominant in the market. And in order to counter this, we need to have more pools adopting SV2. So SV2 makes decentralization possible. So the Bitmain problem. So Bitmain does the miner production and the firmware, which is not open source. So what most people do is just buy the miner, you never really know what the firmware has, and just point it to a pool. But now with SV2, it helps in the translation, like it's helping equalize that. So you don't need to know what the Bitmain miner is running, but then you can use SV2 to control your transactions and what you're mining. So current pools that support. So for pools, you have brains, demand, and more are incoming. So we're gonna see more pools starting to adopt SV2 and bringing back the power to miners. So firmwares that support that, we have the Brain OS and the translation proxy. This is open source, so if you want to see it or to run it, you can access it on GitHub or the stratumprotocol.org website. So getting started, it's as easy as plugging it into your existing miners. So what you need to run is the translator proxy, which connects to an SV2 pool. But if you want to go full, so this is, okay, this discourages a lot of miners, the config D, because most miners don't want to run their own full Bitcoin node. They just want to point and shoot. Like, they just want to put in their addresses and start earning. So So if you give them the config D, you kind of have issues with that. So config C works. And so these are the resources, in case you're interested to learn more. And yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Just one question. What is the incentive to run option C? Because you still have V1 traffic between your proxy and the actual basics. So why would you do that instead of pointing into V1 pool, pointing to V2?
So with the option C,
yeah,
you're getting less bandwidth. So you're
only between the translator proxy and the pool, right?
like it makes your latencies less.
Don't you have still the same latency between the miner and the proxy?
No. Okay. Since you're transmitting smaller bandwidth or smaller jobs. Or
the ASIC miner talks to the translator.
Yeah, to the
V1,
translator. Yeah.
Which is the same bandwidth as before.
Yeah,
So
but
it's just
it
co-location that's closer.
No, it reduces the bandwidth. So if you had like, let's say 16 MB.
Yep.
So when it goes to the SV2, it's compressed into a binary.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But how does it talk to the translator proxy? That's still V1, the old bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the translator picks the SV1
Yeah.
and then now translates it into an SV2.
I get that.
Then now forwards it. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's still that big traffic between the miner and the translator proxy.
Not really.
Unless it's in the same machine.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
in the
installed
same
on the
machine.
miner.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
On your Linux machine that you're running.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Also got a question, but it's probably very basic. I'm not a miner or anything like that.
Yeah.
You were talking about connecting a miner to a pool.
Yes.
You said you get paid every 20 minutes, and it depends on your share that you're giving to the pool.
Yes.
Is it one miner and I connect to a pool, then when that pool hits a block, then they split that reward between everyone in the pool? Is that the same share that you get?
Yes, depending. Okay. So there are various payment methods. So some pools you pay you even before they hit a block. But when they hit a block, they take the whole amount.
Okay.
But then some pools, they take the 50-50. So all of you are taking a risk. So that's the pool that awards you as part of the share you get to in that block.
Yes. And if you solo mine, you said it takes about 700 years, more or less. What if you solo mine with a nerd mine?
So they usually say approximation of 700 years, but over the past 2 years we've seen Btrust. So you've heard of Btrust?
Yes, they look quite.
So we've seen at least 5 guys going home with a block each.
Wow.
So
Get a couple of Btrust miners.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome, thanks so much.
Any other questions?
So how do we know on that pool scenario what we do as that mining worth the whole effort? Is there something to measure to say you spent this much, this is how long it's going to take, and do we have an estimate of that share income?
I think, can you, excuse me, is it possible to open Stratum protocol.org? So the main reason being pushed for Stratum V2, it's increasing your profitability. So you're able to like, by the time SV1 is doing the first broadcast, you've done like 10 broadcasts. So that's increasing your chances. So your miners are mining at a faster rate as compared to the V1, because V1 is slow by nature. So in SV2, it's increasing how fast your machine is generating the predictions. So if you're doing like 1,000 predictions in 1 minute, it means you have higher chances than someone who's doing 10 predictions in 1 minute. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. And it depends on the pool that how many miners are attached to a pool, or?
Yeah, also the miners.
That in the pool
that increases how fast you can go through the nonce range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I told we were?
Yeah.
When was it ago? Think.
website.
The website. Oh.
So that means people are switching to SP2 because of the efficiency.
Yes.
So
It's big.
Yeah, that one.
this one.
The website explains more on what you're gaining by plugging in SV2. Tilde.org, not every. This is tilde.org. That's being counted as part of the thing. So if you're submitting many and it means a lot, it means you're winning more than someone using SP1 who's submitting maybe one chain every 10 minutes.
Everybody is definitely win something there, or some of them won't get anything?
Yeah, some people don't get anything, depending on the pool you're connected to.
For a person starting out connecting their first S9 mine or something, is there like a preferred pool that does pan out that everyone joins, or is it like purely preference? Or
I think you can try out, Brains already has SP2 in it, so you can try them out, or demand.
Brains pool?
Yeah, Brains.
Oh, and can this happen through cloud as well?
Cloud mining?
Or like using some servers for this kind of like
No, this one you can run it in your own server. So you point your miners that I think the internet is slow. But yeah, so if you're a miner, I think you can keep in touch with me. So I'm trying to build a plug and play.
Even as I work on Stratum too. So
something like is lightweight
because
miners don't want the friction. Because friction brings losses. So from talking to the miners I've talked to so far, so they want something they can just plug and play their existing hardware. So yeah, we can keep in touch. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
To speak on this. It concludes the talk. There's still one or two talks happening at that stage. Ricky's Bitcoin. And then we've got KG talking about Nachankura and a few more coming up. I think it's all also out. Cool. Thank you very much.
be full-time